And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another edition of the LiuLi Cup 2024 Grand Finals Group B. I'm, of course, just VIP with you. I'm joined by these amazing players, the people in chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome, one and all. And a big shout out to Sort of, big shout out to Sort of for a massive raid. Hope you had a great stream. Hope you had a great ladder session. And welcome, one and all, to the group stage of the LiuLi Cup as we are jumping right into our first series, into our first game. And spawning in the the bottom left-hand corner of late lines, we have the Polish Protoss player, the blue Protoss. For Team Liquid, it is MaNa. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent, we have the red Zerg player from Lana, Finland, representing Basilisk. It is Serral. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It's Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck in the chat. As a reminder, this is going to be a best of 3, and this is a GSL group format. The way this works here, we have Serral versus MaNa to kick things off, followed by Spirit versus herO. Then the winners face off against each other in the winners match, then the losers match, then the decider match thereafter. So 5 best of 3s are here for you tonight. Let's go. Let us go. Of course, we already featured Group A less than a week ago at this point. It was earlier this week on Monday we featured Group A, and we were able to showcase our top 2 players making it through the group stage into the playoff bracket. That was Rainer and Gumiho making it out of Group A. Now we're here to find out who joins them in the playoff bracket. Of course, there are 4 groups in total, A, B, C, and D, and we'll be going over those groups over the next 2 weeks. It's going to be group stage for the next 2 weeks, and of course the playoff brackets thereafter. It's a lot of StarCraft because we have the LiuLi Cup, we have Masters Coliseum as well, and of course all the other regular events thereafter. So every day this month we have a cast, multiple times a day, even 2-3 times a day have a cast. As we usually do here on the CranKy Ducklings, as we usually do, all the StarCraft, all the casting. For the time being, we're settling in. Is going to be a Hatchcast full standard opener here out of Serral. Likewise, we have MaNa going for the gate expand as well. MaNa has a certain playstyle when it comes to PvZ. If you've been watching MaNa over the past couple of weeks, over the past month, I would say, you'd be familiar about MaNa. He is very fond of going for a Stargate opener into a third base, into a faster Twilight Council, Robo, Temple Archives, into Archon drop. He's very fond of it. Not saying he'll go for it every single game, but that is his go-to, especially getting to a standard mid-game in towards the late game even. Mainly the mid-game, I should say, as he does focus on that timing, on that Archon push. Can be a little more assertive with it. For now, there's that Stargate that we did mention, just Stargate opener for the time being, and Serral does take a third. Of course, I'm curious if potentially MaNa has been preparing something special coming into the group stage. We have been aware of the groups for a couple of weeks at this point. I say a couple of weeks, yeah, for almost 2 weeks at this point. And MaNa, I'm sure, has been cooking up a storm, getting ready for Serral, as of course Serral is one of the favorites, or is the favorite to make it out of the group. We'll see how MaNa can perform. We shall see. But now we're just saturating our bases, getting our 3 base setup up and running. MaNa moving out with the initial depth, just to get some scouting information, just to make sure there's no earlier tech, no earlier gases, no earlier shenanigans out of Serral. We go. As the Oracle is on the way. No crazy opener, no initial Void Ray or Phoenix is going to be the Oracle first out of MaNa. Of course, for those that are unaware, for those who haven't been watching over the past, again, month, even 2 months, MaNa has been improving so much and getting so much better results. It's been crazy to see the growth of MaNa and the, again, the reinvigoration of MaNa. Yep, there's the Robo. Reinvigoration of MaNa going into December, going into the end of 2024, to see MaNa take down the top Korean players and even the top foreigners time and time again. It's been amazing to see the growth of MaNa in this time. It is going to be the Stargate into third base, into Robo. This should lead into a Twilight Council, Temple Archives into Archons. And there it is. There's a Twilight Council into Archon drop. This is MaNa's go-to that we mentioned earlier. This is what he does thrive in this matchup. Now, the way that this matchup, or the way that this build works here, outside of just going into the Archon drop, is that it leads into a very heavy Archon Immortal-based composition, less so heavy, kind of like Blink Stalker aggression and Blink Stalker harass, as you typically would in a standard ZVP. The downside of this opener, the downside of this build, is your lack of Oracles, as you only have 1 Oracle instead of your typical 3. So there is a bit of a give and take here as to the pros and cons of this build. It means that it is going to be a little bit more difficult to scout, to get economic damage done, to get a read on what your opponent's up to. If Serral were to be hiding tech or rushing into something like a faster lair, into faster upgrades even, then it would be a little bit more difficult for MaNa to be aware of that. We have seen MaNa struggle against like hidden Spire plays, hidden Mutas for example, as it can be difficult to scout. Meanwhile, War Prison is moving out across the map, and this is lined up with the completion of the Temple Archives to actually warp in the High Templar to get into the Archon drop. So the Archon drop is upon us. This does hit later than your typical DT Archon drop, for example, as the High Templar morph in, and the Archons have arrived. Now, this is just designed to get economic damage. This is designed to catch Lings, to catch Overlords, potentially Queens, a couple of drones here and there. This isn't necessarily designed to kill, as MaNa's building up behind this. As we mentioned, we're meant to be building up into a higher Immortal count, into more Archons, into potentially Storm in a longer later game. Lings, they come in for harass, they shut down the shield battery. Boys are being pulled to try to protect it, but the shield battery should be going down. At the same time, Archons, they do dive in, but Serral, he is getting ready. Did throw down the safety Roach Horn. Queens are in position. Clutch Transfuse saves the Queens. We do see MaNa actually going to be reinforcing it with the Archon. Ooh, oh my god, clutch save. Clutch save on the Archon. Archon gets saved. He pulls out, pulls away, and we spoke about the Spire play. There it is. Spire gets thrown down. Now, this is the typical response against an Archon drop opener like this. The reason for this is because, as you can imagine, no Blink Stalkers. When you go for this kind of build, there is no Blink, there is no +1. We did mention that this is the downside of it, as you're not applying as much pressure with as mobile of an army. And of course, you have limited anti-air, as you're heavily reliant on Archons and on Storm. Speaking of Storm, there it is. Storm is down in production from the side of MaNa. And if the Spire goes unscouted, then Serral can wreak havoc and snowball out of control. It's happened before against MaNa, it can happen again. Again, that is one of the weaknesses of this kind of build. It's on MaNa to figure out what's going on. Once he does, then he can start Blink, then he can start Phoenix production. Remember, MaNa still did open Stargate, so he has access to Phoenixes, he just has to know to make some. As he's dipping in between the bases. Again, the Spire is at the third for the time being. MaNa has yet to confirm. His Oracle is chilling back at home, throwing down stasis traps. And so far, MaNa just poking in, getting an Overlord, denying creep. Like, what he's getting here isn't bad whatsoever. It's the, I mean, the problem is just this hidden tech. And Muta production has begun. Mutas are on the way. Roach counterattack towards the third base. Storm isn't quite done. The High Templar are exposed. But so far, the Roach is not getting too much done, but they do form a distraction. They force MaNa back home with the drop. And the Mutas, they break out. So the Mutas rallying towards bottom right. So rotating towards that natural. We have cannons, shield batteries on. That's a lot of cannons. Let's go. It looks like the Mutas, they haven't spotted. So he dives in. He doesn't quite get the Immortal. Nice control here by MaNa. Does save himself. They dive into the main. Phoenix production has begun. There's one Phoenix on the way. The Archon's in position. And so far, MaNa, he reacts well. Does react very nicely. The cannons and shield batteries to finish up just in time. And the Mutas are not getting much done. Whew. Again, it was a late reaction out of MaNa, but just in time. Just in time. So far, MaNa, he holds. And now MaNa, he's building up that Immortal count, building up that Archon count. Remember, all these High Templar, they're building up energy for Storm. And here comes the move out. And these Mutas, they have not paid for themselves. Not yet. Ooh, never mind. I was waiting for the moment that MaNa would move out, and the fourth base is on the way, so MaNa is trying to expand. He's also taking to a second Stargate. Oh! There's a cancel on the base, on the Nexus. And MaNa, he's pulling... He's going to be pulled apart. Serral, poking in, doesn't quite commit. Serral, he is maxed out on Roach Hydra. The longer this goes on, the better it is for MaNa, as he's catching up in supply, warping in more Archons, High Templar, Immortals, even Fleet Beacons on the way. And the Fleet Beacon tells us that MaNa most likely is going to be turtling. He's not pushing out. So he's going to be staying back at home. And this Fleet Beacon should be for, I would imagine, investment into Skytoss, not into Phoenix range. As there are barely any Mutas. Oh, the Phoenix! No! As the first Phoenix doesn't quite go down. MaNa, he does hold. Second Phoenix, though, does get caught. Oh, does fall. MaNa is thinking about moving out. Okay, he's going to be pushing. Mutas are dealt with. Fleet Beacon does finish, but he does nothing with it. And he can deny the expansion. Lurker Tech is somewhat ready, but the base is going to fall. And from here, the question becomes, does MaNa keep pushing? Does he back up? At the same time, attempts to run by. There's a wall of Spine Crawlers. Serral, he is defending. He's turtling up himself. The High Templar get left get out of here. High Templar get left behind. And Serral he sees. He does catch 1, 2, 4 High Templar. Ay, ay, ay. That was a rough A move there from MaNa as they were stuck with the larva. Another High Templar goes down, and another, oh my god, the High Templar gets reset. And that was how many? That was 6 High Templar going down. Oh, that is brutal. Those were so many storms. 13 probe kills. MaNa gets forced back, and Serral, he's maxing out on a more refined army. He's throwing away his roaches and building up more hydras and more lurkers. Ay, ay, ay. MaNa, he was doing well up until that moment. As again, the High Templar were just caught on a move on the larva. They were left behind. Lurker count is building up. Tempest production has begun for MaNa. But he needs more time. He needs a 4th base. MaNa is double expanding. He needs one of these bases up and running. As he moves out, Serral is ready for a run by. Once again, he wants to get rid of these roaches. Does want to get rid of them. So now MaNa is going to zone him away. Does force him back, but the army's out of position. Serral, he does strike the 4th, and the win condition for Serral is just deny the 4th base. Deny the 4th base over and over again. And he will. He's forcing the all-in. MaNa, he avoids the main army, just sends it across the map. He attempts to. Serral, he backs off in time. MaNa, how many High Templar does he have? He's got 3. Okay, 3 High Templar, 3 storms. Or at least 3. As the base is under threat. First storm does land. We can see Serral setting up a flank. Another storm on the lurkers. The base does go down. At the same time, Serral counterattacking. And depowering the natural. Getting the robo. The cybercore as well, denying upgrades. And MaNa's getting pulled apart. Tempest goes down. Oh my god. Serral gets the Tempest, gets a War Prism. And Mothership for MaNa. Forces turn back around. Getting into Void Ray production. MaNa making just whatever he can. Serral spots the army, gets another Tempest. We get another most efficient of dives here out of Serral, but he can afford it. He can afford these trades. MaNa less so. Remember, MaNa is still trying to expand, still trying to take a 4th. As he tries to, Serral rocks up once again to knock it down. So the Nexus is denied. There is a Nexus up and running technically, but no saturation. MaNa once again, he rotates towards that center base, does force a cancel, but he cannot push into this. I mean, the immortal count is quite high, but still down 40 supply. Corruptors, they do take a storm to the face. Storm does connect. Lurkers, they move out. They're going for the 3rd. And MaNa, he's slowly gaining ground, but as he is, he's losing a base. He's losing expansion. Probes are falling. As he picks up a couple of units, Serral, he can replace them. And MaNa, he's on a timer. Oof. Yeah, as the Nexus does fall. How many Tempests does he have? 6. 6 Tempest. MaNa poking in. Storm does land. Oh my god. Serral, he stands in the storm. The corruptors are very low. But they did get a Tempest. Meanwhile, Serral has found the quote-unquote ninja base, the 5th. So the Nexus is going to go down. And across the map, the Lurkers, they just keep pushing forward. Spire is somewhat exposed. True. And the Tempest, they are trading well. If only MaNa had an economy behind this, if only he could max out. If he could, then he could threaten Serral. The problem is that Serral has no reason to dive in. Like, Serral is just being very patient play. Just waiting for MaNa to pull the trigger. Across the map, Serral taking down more bases, pushing into the natural. Serral's just chilling. Oh, MaNa does rotate, catching out some of these lurkers. Lurkers do forward. Tempest's going to be going down. And MaNa, he commits into the lurkers. And he's going to lose everything here. The Tempest, the Archons, it's all falling. And GG gets called. Serral takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, I do want to give credit, of course, to MaNa. He played well initially, especially when it comes to responding to the mutas, to reacting, and also defending quite well against them. The mutas, they did not pay for themselves. If you recall, though, it was when the mutas were being dealt with, when MaNa decided to, as he was expanding, to move out across the map, and that's when he lost 6 High Templar. That was that was the moment when momentum swung heavily in favor of Serral. That was 6 High Templar going down. At the same time, if you remember, that was also Serral knocking down the 4th base as MaNa was attempting to expand at the same time as he was pushing. And from that moment, he never took a 4th. He never got his 4th base and running. If you recall at the time, I was like, oh, because we saw the fleet beacon, I was like, oh, MaNa, he's just going to turtle. He's just going to defend back at home, just turtle up, get a 4th base, and try to max out from there. Alas, that was when he decided to move out, and he did overextend. Even though the move out wasn't too bad, if you recall, it was just that he had left his High Templar exposed, and they all went down, which was the brutal moment. If he had just gone in, taken down the base, then backed off, then maybe a different story. Regardless, GG, well played. Serral does take a lead in the series, and now we're getting into game number 2. Let's go. Game 2 is going to be on King's Cove, a much larger map, but also a much more open map as well. The 4th bases on King's Cove are much more exposed compared to Ley Lines, the map that we just casted on. So because of that, it's going to be potentially even more difficult for MaNa to expand. We'll see if he does adjust, we'll see if he does, or how he does adapt. As we're jumping into game number 2 and spawning in the top left-hand corner of King's Cove, we have the Polish Protoss player, the blue Protoss representing Team Liquid. Down in this series, we'll see if he can bounce back. It is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the red Zerg representing Basilisk. Leading the series 1-0, it is Serral. Here we go. I never thought that the bubble attack would be a disadvantage for the High Templar on some occasions. Yeah, it was a shame, right? Like, you're not wrong. You know, in a world where High Templar never got their auto attack, they would have been fine. They would have been safe and sound. They would have been able to follow the army. But that's also why that was a little bit on MaNa. Technically miscontrol, right? For him to have moved in such a way was a rough moment, and of course Serral did punish it, right? Did punish it quite hard. Yeah. Feels bad, man. Feels bad. As now we are going to be settling in, so force take the unnatural natural, going for a hatch gas pull. Likewise, MaNa across the map going for his own gate expand. Everything looking normal so far. As we did mention in the previous game, and I guess we'll echo it again, that style out of MaNa, that build specifically to go for a Stargate opener into a 3rd base, 1 Oracle into High Templar, into Archon drop, that is what he thrives on. That's what he does enjoy. That's what he prefers as his go-to build in this matchup. We saw it in game 1, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see it here again in game number 2. There is a variation where he throws down extra gateways instead, and he turns it into an all-in. If you remember last game, he kind of like attempted that a little bit by reinforcing with slow lots, but Serral he was more than prepared. So MaNa, he does have some adjustments that he can make to it, but outside of that, like we should be seeing, or I would imagine we're going to be seeing the same opener. If we don't, we'll point it out. We'll see if MaNa does adjust, if he does try to adapt, if he brings something different to the table. And again, last game, he wasn't playing too poorly whatsoever. Considering the unscattered Spire for so long, he did handle himself very well against Serral, up until, of course, you know, heading into the mid-game. So we'll see. MaNa is across the map, does pylon block, will delay the expansion for a couple of seconds, does get out of there. There's that Stargate opener out of MaNa. Should be Stargate into Oracle. We'll see if he does do something crazy, like go for a Void Ray opener instead, or a Phoenix. As he that does move out. And there it is. Oracle is on the way. So we have the initial Oracle opener. Deadpool throw in the shade. And speaking of the map, I mean, earlier we were alluding to how exposed it is as a map. I mean, King's Cove is one of the larger maps in the map pool, that is true, and it is very defendable on 3 bases. On your natural here and on your third, you have a ramp coming into these bases. Likewise, no other kind of way in, no other attack paths, so very secure on a 3-base setup. The 4th base, less so. Especially here, the center 4th base is very much so wide out in the open, is very much so exposed, can be attacked from multiple angles. Likewise here on the left hand side as well is also not the most easiest base to hold on to. And there it is, yeah, Robo. Robo's on the way. It's going to be Robo into Twilight Council, into Temple Archives, into Archon Drop. So the same build so far. Same build from MaNa. Getting to his third. But again, we saw how difficult it was for MaNa to establish. I mean, he never did establish a 4th base last game. This one, it might be even more difficult. So we might see MaNa be more defensive instead. Or just go all in. We'll see one of the two. As we are building up. Oracle's being somewhat active. Serral just back at home, happily droning. Saturating his bases. We do see a 440 Roach Warren timing here from Serral, so very safe timing. Does mean that he will have Roaches out in time for the Archons. So Serral is not cutting corners. There are some Zerg players that are, especially on some of these larger maps, that are willing to skip their Roach Warrens entirely just to be more efficient and just rush into a lair, rush into Ling Hydra instead of Ling Roach Hydra. But again, we can see that Serral is not cutting corners. Playing very safe. Lings, they get across the map, they get a probe, they force a recall. And once the Archons reveal themselves just like the last game, Serral, he will have the option to go for a Spire and go into Mutas. Now, we did see last game that the Muta play wasn't really too successful for Serral, so he might just avoid it entirely. Might just avoid it. And just go straight into faster Hydra Lurker instead. Yep, speaking of, Hydra dead. So this time there's no Spire, there are no Mutas, going straight Hydras into eventually faster Lurker tech. So Archons a poke in. Oof. They threaten the Overlord. So far, good control here out of Serral. He doesn't just save the Overlord, he gets a lot of damage done on the Prism. Prism is getting low. MaNa, he has to be careful, shaving off some Lings. A couple of Lings. Once again, Prism is going to be targeted down, and MaNa has to back off. So far, solid defense here by Serral. Investing into his upgrades, +1 range tells us that again we should be taking a little bit faster into Hive Tech. But now just Roach Hydra. Back at home, Storm is on the way. Charge as well. The same setup here out of MaNa, securing his third. And because the rush distance by ground is a little bit longer here on King's Cove, we might not be seeing Serral be as successful with his Roach run-bys. As Serral is taking into the Infestation Pit, again that's going to be for the Hive, that's going to be for the Lurkers. So much faster Lurker tech this time out of Serral. And again, I would imagine he's going to be a little more defensive this time as well. I mean, it was quite successful last game with his counterattacks and run-bys, but it was also a smaller map. MaNa, he hasn't got any critical damage yet, but he is 9 creep. Taking down the active tumors. Saving the Observer. Tanking some shots. There it is. Lurker Den's on the way. Hive is on the way. And Serral, he's just focusing on defense. Just keeping up. Getting a 4th base, now getting a 5th as well. Saturating, getting up to 83 drones. He's at his ideal worker count. He can now focus on his army production. Hydras are amassing. MaNa is getting his own 4th. And again, as opposed to the previous game, this time MaNa's 4th base should get fully operational. Again, MaNa is being more defensive. Serral, he breaks out. He's spotted by the Observer. MaNa getting in position. This time his army is alert. Oh! Observer gets caught out. MaNa's in the dark. The army gets spotted. And Serral, he does peel off a couple of forces. Going for the Oracle. How many immortals? 3, soon to be 5, as of course we're making 2 immortals at a time. Double robot production is building up. Serral, he pokes in. MaNa is ready. So far, so good. Serral at the same time going on the left-hand side. Likewise, MaNa has some units in position. And likewise, he deflects. So MaNa is keeping up. He's getting his 4th base up and running. We have a Nidus Worm on the way. Oh,
Game paused.
From the side of Serral. And hopefully everything's okay. As we do get a bit of a pause. Oh. Do get a bit of a pause. Share in the chat. Just catching up. Just catching up. Did MaNa play back in Wings of Liberty? The name sounds familiar. Yes. MaNa, he's been around for a very long time. Was he a competitor in Warcraft 3 before SE2? Potentially. But yeah, MaNa has been around for a long time. Been around for a very long time. Which is also why it's really cool that he is at the level that he is at the moment. We spoke about this before, but again, MaNa, he kind of took a bit of a break from the game a little bit. I say a break. He did take a step back, and he wasn't competing as often in online events, especially like 2023, end of 2022. But this year, he has been on it, been all over it. And has been quite competitive with the top players of his region. And even of the top players in Korea. I mean, there's a reason why MaNa's here. There's a reason why MaNa's a part of this group. Why he's among players like Serral, like herO, and Spirit. MaNa's been a beast as of late. So far, he's holding his own. Fleet beacons on the way. Second Forge, +2. This tells us, as we made the assumption last game, but it should be the reality this game, is that MaNa should be defensive. He should be just turtling, getting a 5th base, securing himself, and taking it to Skytoss, and looking to max out. If you remember last game, he attempted this, but he was denied it as he was being a little bit too active, and lost his bases. Lost his 4th base over and over again. This time he should be keeping up. Storm going to be going up. Ooh, there's a lunge from the Hydras, taking down one of the Immortals. High Templar as well, very nice target firing. Gets High Templar to Immortals. Very nice pickups. +1 air attack is on the way. MaNa moving out, trying to force Serral to react, trying to force him to respond. So far it is working. Oh, at the cost of a High Templar. But again, MaNa just trying to be somewhat active to force Serral to stay at home. As Serral is setting up a Doom Drop. Drop Lords are loading up. Making his way towards that natural. Cannons and shield batteries are ready though. MaNa, he's played against Serral before. He's already prepared. Oh, as we've seen this before. That's gonna be 1. It's gonna be, can he get 2? He can. 2 High Templar go down. Nice pickups here by Serral. MaNa once again overextending with those High Templar. Expensive losses. Doom Drop into the natural. The side defense will help, but we need the army. MaNa, he has to respond. Storm's going to be going up. Ooh, but the lurker position here is brutal. And MaNa, he's actually moving out. He responds with half his army. He should be able to clean this up. Storm's going up. Ooh, there's another juicy Storm. MaNa defends. But as he moves out, Serral is going for the center base. Going for the 5th. But there's not much here. Piece of a cannon. MaNa pushing right down the right-hand side. Going for the natural. It will catch a queen. Queens are going down. Serral responds. This is going to be an expensive run by though for MaNa. Does get into the mineral line. 20 drones going to be going down. Gets every worker here at the natural. Not bad. And keeps pushing. Does keep pushing out. Drones are falling. We see MaNa is being cleaned up. Does push towards the fresh mining base. Lurkers are out of position. But MaNa is pushing deep onto creep. Ooh, Observer goes down. MaNa has no detection. He cannot push onto lurkers. Gonna be reinforcing. Nice storms. But it's just the 1 storm. He's out of High Templar. There we go. The rest of them do come in. They do reinforce, and MaNa, he will take down the base. He has to get the hell out of here. Activates Cloak, gets 18 more workers, and he backs off. MaNa, he retreats. Very nice attack. He takes down 40 drones in total. And behind this, Tempest production. The Tempests are building up. I believe MaNa only has one Stargate. Yeah, only one Stargate is producing. It is unfortunate. You can see MaNa has a bank. But again, he's having a hard time spending his money. Serral going for a counterattack. He gets spotted. Does sign the observers. Gets 2. Forcing the recall. MaNa races back. Now we get the second Stargate. Again, the second Stargate is late. This will delay the Sky Toss. All in all, that was a successful attack out of MaNa. Very nice. Getting 40 workers, taking down 2 bases. But now MaNa has to rebuild those observers, as that was his only detection. So his production is stifled. He's gearing back up. I'll show us the storm. As he does take down 3 of those lurkers. Whew. 3 lurkers go down. Still pushing on the right-hand side. So far, MaNa, he's keeping up. So good. Pushing on both sides. Running to the lurkers. Nice storm. Storm goes up. Tempest kind of slowly building up. Does need more time. Serral's being forced back. MaNa, he does miss the army on the right-hand side. That is concerning. Serral's moving out, so there is going to be a recall available. Slow zone on the lurkers. Yeah, lurkers are getting caught out. Massive pickups. MaNa, he takes out every single lurker. At the same time, here comes that counterattack. Does he recall? He commits. MaNa, he smells blood in the water. Takes down the 4th, going for the 5th as well. These bases are going to go down. We spoke earlier, these bases are very exposed, and they're going to fall. They're falling one after the other. Serral takes down the 4th. Can he take down another Nexus? Yeah, he will. He's going for it. Both players trading bases. Lurker count is building back up. He's got 4 lurkers. 4 lurkers on the higher ground. Does MaNa recall? Does he keep going? Nexus under threat. Is pushing in. Remember, only 4 lurkers to defend. There's the cloak. Ooh, storms on the Hydras. Nexus eventually will go down. Serral has another base. And MaNa so far unaware. Is rotating over. Nexus is going to fall. MaNa down to 3 bases. But likewise, so is Serral. Yes, MaNa, he finds the expansion, will shut it down. And in 3 base versus 3 base, I do favor MaNa. And MaNa, he's in a better position. Serral, he is struggling. Serral, he has no bank. He's out of money. I do like this Nidus. Serral is going to be able to essentially recall back home. Yep, he gets the hell out of here. Oh no! The move, the A move, not again! The Immortals are left behind. 1, 2, 3 Immortals go down. Massive pickups. Not again. Keep the army together, Pappy. Keep it together. There's the recall back home. Recall into the main. This is denied. We see MaNa re-expanding, so is Serral. But Serral, he pulls back out. And he does force a cancel. Now, as the dust settles, in a head-on fight, I favor MaNa. MaNa, he will straight up win if they do clash head-on. So Serral has to be very careful. Does retreat. Likewise, that's why Serral is setting up for Nidus Worms and counterattacks and Dropper Lords. Trying to force MaNa back home. Speaking of, there's a Nidus. Nidus across the map. MaNa pushing out. How many lurkers is he pushing into? That's going to be 12. Ooh, 12 lurkers for Serral. Not going to be easy to push into. Not too quickly, I should say. Nidus does complete. Serral coming in with the yoinks, catching out the Tempest. Gets 1, he gets 2. Ooh, just 1 Tempest goes down, the other survives. At the same time, Zalarambe here on the right-hand side. 9 drones going to be going down. So far, Serral not making use of the Nidus. Not yet. Serral, he's struggling here to hold. And And the Tempest, they can reign free on this army, but here come the yoinks! Yeah, feedback's a little bit too late. Oh, can he get the Tempest? He gets one. He does barely not get the other. Oh no, he gets it. Gets both High Temple. Sorry, gets both Tempest. One Tempest left. One Tempest remaining. Serral is so quick to just regather energy on those Vipers. These Vipers are keeping Serral in this game. And MaNa, he backed off for a moment there. Did back off. So run back into the main. That's a lot of observers. Jesus. That's like 5 observers. Going for the Spire. MaNa, he rotates. And again, Serral is buying time. Reestablishing that center 4th, getting a 5th. Spire did go down. Serral, he rotates. MaNa trying to keep up. But again, Serral is just building up a higher lurker count. He had 12, now up to 17 lurkers. There's a Nidus. Nidus towards the north was cleaned up. Because there's so many lurkers, okay, there's 26 Hydras. I was a little bit concerned about the anti-air. Hydras, they move out for a counterattack. MaNa, he spots it, he turns around. He did turn around for a moment. But again, so he wants MaNa to go back home. Storms, they buy time. And Serral, he was down 50 supply. Now he's catching up. Serral, he's slowly catching up in supply. He re-expanded, taking 2 bases. He has saturation. Lurkers, they get caught a little bit unsieged. Yeah, they got caught unburrowed. Storm's gonna be landing. MaNa, he commits. The Storms are brutal, and MaNa, he breaks through. He breaks through the defensive line. 17 lurkers, they mean nothing. GG gets called, and MaNa takes game number 2, tying up the series 1-1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. Again, this is MaNa who's able to get into a 4th base saturation. If you remember, that was what he struggled with in game number 1. He was denied the 4th base over and over again. MaNa was overly aggressive. Here on King's Cove, MaNa went for the same build, that is true, but different kind of outlook, different play style. MaNa much more defensive this time. He just turtled up on 4 bases, got into Skytoss, got a 5th base up and running, and got an army that Serral could not really engage with, could not really deal with that death ball of an army. Serral did go for counterattacks, and we ended up in a weird base trade, but MaNa came out on top. GG. GG, well played. MaNa, he got into his ideal, and if he can get there again, I do favor him, but ooh, we go from one of the larger maps in the map pool to one of the smaller maps, and this is where I have to favor Serral instead. Up next, game 3, we're going to be loading into Whispers of Gold. Outside of El Dorado, this is, what, the most aggressive map in the map? Well, I think even more than El Dorado, actually. Whispers of Gold, very small map, likewise very exposed, not just 4th base, but exposed 3rd base as well. It can be very difficult to defend on this map. This map is known for Queen all-ins, like Dropper Lords, German taxis, Queen walks across the map. This map is known for all-ins from the Zerg side of things, so it's going to be much more difficult for MaNa to turtle up on a map like this. I'm a little bit concerned, but we'll see what the plan is. We'll see how he does approach this. As spawning in the top left-hand corner of Whispers of Gold, we have the Polish Protoss player, the blue Protoss, representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Zerg player representing Basilisk from land of Finland. Down, or being forced into the ace match. Let's see if he can bring it back. It is Serral. Here we go. So we are settling in. So forsake the unnatural natural. And again, just to reiterate what we were getting at in the previous game, one of the advantages that MaNa had was because King's Cove is so large, because it's so big, it did allow MaNa to defend, to be able to keep up with counterattacks and run-bys. It took that much longer for Serral to actually get across the map, to try to run by, to try to punish some of those bases. So it was a lot easier for MaNa to secure himself, to defend, and to get into that ideal army. Again, here on Whispers of Gold, a very different kind of setup here, a very different map, different advantages, and a lot of disadvantages as well. Here we go. So we are settling in. Hello, Rowdy. Hello, babylings. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Good to see you all. Good to see you. Yo, Esther, slower on. Calm down, Bobby. Calm down. Again, when it comes to the how the series has progressed so far, a lot of it I feel like does come down to the maps themselves and what they do favor. As we did mention, this map here is known for all-ins. The question becomes, though, now that we think about it, is yes, on this map, it does favor things like German taxis, queen walking across the map. I mean, I say it, talking about it, this third base, the triangular third base, is very much so exposed. There is a ramp coming into it, but it's a very large map, sorry, very large ramp, very wide. Likewise, rocks can be knocked down as well to gain multiple access points to this expansion. Likewise, on the right-hand side as well. You can force your way in between the bases instead, but is Serral one to all in? Is he one to go for a 2-base or a 3-base all in? Is he one to be aggressive like that? If not, then MaNa could pull off defending here. It's not going to be as easy, but going to be more possible. As we expect MaNa to go for the same builds. We mentioned it before, but Stargate Opener into Robo, into Twilight Council, into Archons and Immortals is the go-to of MaNa. We'll see if he deviates as well. As we're setting up on 3 bases. Going to be joining, getting the 4th. As calm as possible. We'll calm down even more than SMH my head. As Zep does threaten the shade towards the natural. Oh! Not quite getting a drone. Nice control out of Serral. Does save his workers. Nicely done. Oracle soon to move out, and MaNa will take his 3rd. Setting up a survey base. Yep, there's the Robo. Same build. Same build here at a MaNa. So once again, it's going to be going into a Warp Prism, Twilight Council, into a High Templar, into Archon drop. Same build out of MaNa. The question becomes, do we see the same build out of Serral? Does he also play towards the late game? Does he also tag up into an Infestation Bit, into Hive Tech? Or is he more assertive early on? I feel like the onus is going to be more on Serral this game. More so than MaNa. As Serral is droning, Serral is saturating. So far, so good. Going for the 430 lair timing. Interesting. So earlier lair out of Serral. If you recall, last game was around this time that Serral got a Roach Warren, but no, that's going to be lair into Evo Chamber. This looks like +1 melee. And this looks like Serral is rushing into Hydras. Ooh, I say that, okay. There's the Roach Warren. That's what I was waiting for. The Roach Warren has in place. So safety timing, or safe timing here with the Roach Warren. But faster tech. And I'm curious if he indeed is going into +1 melee. We shall see. But now, no, it's going to be range. Okay, so it's going to be a bigger commitment here into Roaches. Into Roach Hydra. Curious. So Serral, he has our attention. Because of the faster lair, it means faster Roach speed. Faster Hydras potentially as well. As last game, the lair wasn't begun until past the 5-minute mark. Link's poking in. Archons have arrived. There's Roach speed on the way. I'm keeping my eye on the drone counts. Serral is up to 3-base saturation. Is amassing some Roaches to defend. Archons, they go for the dive, they go for the Queens. Not quite worth it, they didn't quite get them. Clutch moves here out of Serral, saving every single Queen. Queens will save, the Archons get deflected. Serral, he is going to be joining up a little bit further, getting up to, what, 71? 69 even. Nice. He's taking gases. Okay. Taking gases. Basically, I was curious if Serral was going to go for like a max out +1 timing, like +1 range, like on based off of Roaches, but the answer is no. Serral, he is droning, he's taking gases, and that allows him to take into Hydras. So Serral, he's taking up into Hydras, into, I would imagine, Infestation Bit, and Hive Tech. Serral is building up. Ling Ramba is attempted. Back at home, MaNa. It's forced to cancel. So far is keeping up. At least trying to. Storm is halfway done. Second gateway gets denied. Nice pickles here out of Serral. Serral, yep, taking more gases. He's moving out with his roaches. MaNa, he does spot them. He has to defend. Setting up more stack defense. Immortal production well underway. A bit of a supply block here from MaNa. Oof. Supply block is brutal. And Serral, he is not saturating that fourth base. Okay, Serral, he is building up Ling Hydra. Okay, he is looking to max out. This is what I was curious about. He does not get up to 4 base saturation. He does not throw down Infestation, but does not take up into Hive. He's staying on Lair Tech, and he's maxing out on Ling, Roach, Hydra. Much more aggressive here from Serral. This is what we wanted, Pappy. Not a 3 base all in. It's 3.5 base, essentially, as there's some saturation at the 4th, and Serral is maxing out. So his cutting work is at 70. He's maxing out. And we'll see if MaNa can keep up. As Serral setting with Doom Drop into the main. Denies the 5th. Sorry, denies the 4th even. The wall's open. Serral diving in the army. Ooh. Storms are good. But one Immortal goes down. Roaches, they come in from behind. They get on top of the High Templar. He gets one. Gets one. Gets two. 2 High Templar go down. Serral, he backs up. And here comes the Doom Drop. Yeah, he loads up, headed towards the main. MaNa is somewhat in position. He has 2 Immortals and an Archon. He is set up. Drop comes in. Does force a recall. Recall into the main. MaNa, he does defend. At the same time, Serral pushing towards that natural. And this entire time, ooh, once we do get a storm of the drop alerts, oh my god. 2 drop alerts go down. And Serral, he's not killing these bases. He's not breaking the natural. He's not breaking the 3rd base, but he is denying the 4th. That's what's important. He's keeping MaNa on a 3 base economy. And MaNa cannot keep up, cannot max out. And behind this, Serral drones. Serral, he has acknowledged he cannot break MaNa, but he's done enough damage. You can see MaNa investing into more stack defense, and Serral's droning. Serral's droning, and now here comes, now the Hive, now the Lurker Den. This tech was late, it is delayed, but it's worth it because, hey, Serral, he denied the 4th. He denied the 4th base, and similarly to game 1, the win condition for Serral is make sure that MaNa never expands. Make sure he never expands, never gets a 4th base up and running, takes out another High Templar. Oh, takes down 2 more, forcing the Archon, trading with the army. Does trade. Forcing out storms. Doom Drop into the main. And just pulling MaNa apart. And just picking away at him, catching up more High Templar. No, he gets 2 more. 2 more High Templar go down. Takes a storm to the face. And MaNa is just being pulled apart at this point. It is just too much. And I do appreciate that Serral was more aggressive this game. Again, we spoke about it. We spoke about, I mean, King's Cove. But this map does lend towards aggression. It does support it. And here Serral, he's excelling. MaNa, he just wants a 4th base. He just wants an expansion. See Serral setting up for a flank. And no lurkers yet. I say a flank, a surround. And collapsing in the army takes out the Archons, collapses on the Immortals, and there's no support. It's not enough. Serral starter steps forward. GG gets called, and Serral will take the series 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Serral does take down MaNa, but a shout out to MaNa because, hey, he forced the ace match. He did hold his own, and MaNa did show that, hey, if he can get into a 4-base economy, if he can get into Sky Toss, then MaNa can threaten even a player of the caliber of Serral. So very impressive play here out of MaNa. He came in as the underdog, and especially if people haven't been watching MaNa as of late, they might be a little bit surprised to see that he would take Serral to the ace match. So a very nice performance here out of MaNa. But Serral does advance on into the next round, into the winner's match. GG. GG, well played. Serral does advance on. For those that are curious, again, for those that are maybe tuning in for the first time, welcome to the LiuLi Cup. This is the group stage of the LiuLi Cup, and we are here in a GSL format group. What does that mean? That means that Serral does advance on to the winner's match, and Serral is waiting for the winner of the second series. There are 4 players in this group. It's not just Serral and MaNa. There's herO and Spirit as well. So Serral, he's going to be waiting. He does have some time to himself. He can get some food. He can get some snacks. He can massage his Marines. He can hydrate his Hydras. And of course, he is waiting for Spirit versus herO to wrap up. Speaking of, that is our next series. Up next is going to be that TVP. As we head on over to the Americas server. Beautiful. We head on over, vetoes are underway, and we're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we will be getting into herO versus Spirit. So take this time, again, get some snacks, get some food, get some water, get ready for a night of StarCraft. In total, we're going to have 5 best of 3s. We have our first already in the books. We have 4 left. 4 left, Pat. Let's go. So we'll see you guys after the break. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Ooh, hope you enjoyed that lovely Brutal OC as we returned with our second series of the night with our other two players just featured, MaNa and Serral. Now we have our Terran and our Protoss. This morning in the bottom left-hand corner of Leylines, we have the Polish Terran player, the Blue Terran, representing himself, currently teamless. It is Spirit. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is herO. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we settle into game or into our second series of the night. Best of luck. As we get into our PvT, coming into this series, I'm very excited. On the one hand, herO has been looking very strong as of late. We've seen herO even taking down Clem's Terran in recent weeklies and recent times. At the same time, though, Spirit is one of the few Terran players that has taken down Clem's Protoss. Again, Clem has been on a tear with his own Protoss, arguably the best Protoss in Europe, arguably, at least arguably best PvT, as Clem has been taking down players like Beyond, players like Pure. As of late, I want to say the only players that have defeated him are Gumiho, of course, in Home Story Cup, and Spirit in Masters Coliseum. Oh boy. But of course, Spirit did have a particular playstyle as well. Spirit was hyper defensive and of course was able to abuse Clem with drop play, with multiple aggression, with counterattacks. Clem had a very hard time keeping up. We'll see if herO can fare better. We shall see. Spirit gets his natural up and running, single gas opener, so it's going to be an economic start. Racks expand out of Spirit. Meanwhile, herO across the map just going for his own Gate Cyber into Nexus. Standard opener out of herO, economic opener out of Spirit. So far, so good. Bunker is on the way. Marines are going to be amassing here from our Terran player. And from here, we can get into a 1-1-1. We can go into extra Raxes. I'm curious how he does follow up. There we go. Factory is on the way. Spirit, he is known for his greed. He's known for his economy and his economic play and the economic, at times, I was going to say abuse. Like, it's crazy, the stuff that Spirit can at times get away with. But, ooh, this I was not expecting. We have our tech of choice. Not a Stargate, not a Twilight Council, Robo. It's going to be a Robo opener out of herO. Now, this is typically a more defensive way to open up. The reason why I say this, when you open up Robo, you don't have Blink Stalkers, you don't have Phoenixes. Blink Stalkers and Phoenixes, Stargate and Twilight Council play, are designed to get you map control, to hunt down drops, to hunt down medevacs, and to be assertive and to contain your opponent across the map. With a Robo-based opener instead, you have access to faster Observer, faster Immortal, faster Bay into faster Colossus production, typically a more defensive setup instead. With these two extra gateways though, it looks like herO is going for Adept Harass. What I mean by that, as you can see here, Adepts, they're threading shades into the main, but because of the wall, they are denied entry into the main base. With a Robo-based opener, you can go into a faster War Prism, reinforce across the map, and drop into the main. So we'll see if he does go for that Prism, or if he's just being safe. Here he is being active, hallucination into the main base. We do have a third CC before, oh my god. Earlier, I did mention how Spirit, he can be at times like abusive with how greedy he is. Here, third CC before Starport. Very greedy build here in TVP. Very abusable as well. If herO was opening up Blink, he could throw down extra gateways. He can abuse this very hard. Alas, he didn't open Blink. He did open Robo instead, so herO doesn't really have a way to punish this to be too assertive on the map. War Prism is on the way. Twilight Council gets thrown down. herO, he wants to be somewhat active, but I don't know how much he can really get done. Not with this kind of opener. So far, I would say that Spirit, he gambled a little bit. Spirit, if you recall, he hasn't seen anything. He has no idea. Like Spirit, he has not scouted what his opponent is doing, but he's getting away with a greedy build. So far, so good. He gambles well. As the CC is finishing up, just now getting into delayed tank production. Hallucination gets eyes on the rack setup. Big delay on the starport, of course, focusing on tank production into bio, into delayed medevacs. Spirit is not being active whatsoever. He's just chilling back at home. He has just now scouting with the Hellion. And herO takes the third. herO getting a third base, charge on the way as well. Here comes that War Prism with the drop into the main. There are some Adepts, there's a Stalker, a bit of everything. And here he needs to get something done. He needs some kind of economic damage. Otherwise, Spirit's going to snowball out of control. herO jumping into the main. Gets 3 SCVs. That's not bad. Gets 4. Delays the starport. And that was all for nothing. That was all for shield damage, essentially. And a bit of hull damage on 1 adept. So very nice trades here by herO. This is a good start. Solid start for herO. Meanwhile, Spirit settling into the rest of his upgrades, stim, combat shields, tank production, starport into medevacs, third base soon to be landed on location. The pressure is still on herO as here he's taking up into Immortals into Storm. Okay. herO rushing into Storm. Again, Storm-based play in this matchup has been a lot more trendy as of late. As you can imagine in the newest patch, with the addition of the NG Overcharge, it means that High Templar have that much more utility in every matchup. In mainly PvT and PvZ. So Storm-based play is a lot more viable than it once was. A lot more effective, even. And here he's going for a Storm drop towards the natural. He's crazy. Let's go. Storm drop is coming in. Nothing in position to defend. He's going for the mineral line. And the Storms. Up, up. Oh, they're not quite ready. Oh god. herO, he came in too soon. He was like, oh, now they come in on the buy, not on the mineral line. herO, he was premature. It's like the High Templar. They dropped in, and then it's like, oh, this has never happened before. This is he was seconds away. For those that are curious, there wasn't enough NG. There was not enough NG for a Storm. He needed a couple more seconds. So herO a little bit too soon there. Now pushing in. Alas, Spirit, his mineral line is safe as a result. Does reinforce. There are 3 tanks. Jesus, there's 3 tanks. There's a bunker as well. herO tapping in the army, going for the Storms. Does land on the pile when the tanks are exposed. Yeah, the tanks, they are going down. 1 tank falls, the other tank as well. There's still a rough trade for herO, not the cleanest fight. Will barely get on top of that final tank, and herO, he will take it. The tanks go down, the mineral line as well. herO, he breaks through. And here come the reinforcements. Here come the charge lots. It was not finished, yeah. Premature in a different way. Oh no. As we do get 15 SCVs, very nice attack here by herO. Again, barely broke through. And he's actually going to keep going. He pushes in towards the natural. Now herO pulling away. Getting more SCVs. And with that, herO, all he has to do is just calm down. Just back off, hold on to his third, get a 4th base up running, upgrades are on the way, blink, +1, extendable lance as well. Almost like concussive shell. But just gearing up back at him, investing into Colossus, into more splash damage. And the pressure is now on Spirit to somehow bounce back. To move out with drop play, to bust into the main, bust into the natural, get into some kind of mineral line. We need some kind of counter damage. The pressure is on. Pressure is on. As yeah, we see Spirit going for a double drop. Drop towards the north and drop towards the south. These need to get damage done. We go. Look, it happens to the best of us, papi. Ah. Oh no. Too soon. Spirit making his way towards the natural, towards the main as well. The drop was spotted, and here he comes in with the intercept. Does that blink? Blink is available. Oh. And will attempt to keep up. Force a recall. Force a recall into the natural. And this is all still better for herO here. Even though herO, he's forced back home, even though herO is not applying pressure to the third base, he doesn't need to. He already got the damage he was looking for. It's on Spirit to get damaged, not to keep the army busy. As Zealots they move out across the map, there's nothing in position. I mean, the supply for Spirit are in these drops. As Spirit, he reinforces with 4 medevacs into the main. Recall's on cooldown. Yeah, he did just recall towards the natural. And Spirit, he's going for the main base. probes are going down. herO, he races back home. Massive deep out there, Tarsus pylon. The main base is getting depowered, drop into the natural as well. Spirit is getting damage done. At the same time, herO pushing into the natural as well. Like, this is good out of Spirit, but is it enough? Going for the Colossus. Colossus will fall. But herO, he will clean this up. Ooh. Taking down a medevac. Shuts down the drop. Likewise, drop into the natural. Still getting damage done. If only Spirit didn't lose his natural in his third. If only Spirit wasn't on fire back at home. GG gets called, and herO will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. A very successful drop out of Spirit, but again, he was all in. That's the problem there, is that he was completely all in. He had lost far too much at the third base, lost far too much in the lead up to the drop play. GG. GG, well played. herO takes a lead. Whew. Does take a lead, and now herO is 1 game away from advancing on to the winner's match to face off against Serral. As a reminder, Serral is waiting for the winner of this series. We go. And game number 2 is going to be on Amygdala. Okay, Amygdala is going to be a much larger map in the map pool. And because it's a larger map, I would imagine that Spirit will once again go for something more greedy, something more economic. Again, that's kind of like his brand. It's what he's known for. Did attempt it in that last game and did have a good start, but as we saw, herO, upon recognizing how greedy Spirit was building up towards that storm timing, towards that move out and that push towards the third base, did break through the defensive line. Was quite committed at the time, but again, was worth it there for herO. Did more than enough damage. And now we're getting into game number 2. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the Polish Terran player, the Blue Terran. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is Spirit. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Weibo Gaming, WBG. It is herO. Here we go. We are going to settle in. We can see herO scouting for proxies, making sure that everything's safe and sound. I didn't blame him. Spirit, he can cheese in this matchup. I mean, I know I was saying earlier that he is known for his macro, known for being greedy. That is true, but it is not unheard of to see Spirit go for proxy Raxes, proxy Marauder at times. So herO just playing safe and moving out with the scout with his probe. Meanwhile, Spirits are going to be opening up with his Rax, single gas into CC, I would imagine. Economic opener out of Spirit. herO, he is here to disrupt the build. To at least attempt to. But Spirit, he should be able to move down to low ground and should be able to expand without too much issue. Oh, as herO, he will block, he will delay. He delays by a couple of seconds. And now we get the CC. Again, at 500 minutes instead of 400, so a couple of seconds delay. Nothing too major, but a delay nonetheless. As herO backs off. Now we can settle in. Now, last game, if you remember, it was a robo-based opener. It was a much more defensive, safe opener out of herO. We'll see if he does go for a robo once again, or a Twilight Council, or a Stargate. We'll see what tech herO does embrace. Likewise, if you recall, last game, Spirit, he went for a third CC before Starport. Went for a very economic opener, which herO was able to abuse. And we'll see if he goes for another faster third CC this time as well. You could also argue in the last game that it was very fortunate that all 3 tanks were on the low ground instead of being split up on the high ground instead. So they were a little more accessible for herO when it came to his move out, when it came to his push. As we have the answer, this time a 1-1-1. That is a starport before 3rd command center. So much more aggressive, much more tech heavy, I should say, from Spirit, much more standard. Here, oh my god, he's crazy. Speaking of greed, this I've not seen in quite some time. It was a gate expand into third base before tech, before anything else. That's crazy. This is third Nexus before Twilight Council. Okay. So here, he saw what Spirit went for in game one. He's like, hold my beer. Hold my I'll show you how to be greedy, Pappy. And now the pressure's on Spirit. He moves out. He does spot the expansion. And it's on Spirit to punish this. It is on Spirit. Does go for the base. But last here, he does have some units to work with. Remember, 3 units, 2 sentries, and a Stalker. And he kites well, bearing in mind these Marines are vanilla Marines. There's no stim. Glaives? Okay. He's cooking. Let him cook. Let him cook, Pappy. Oh my god. Third Nexus before Twilight Council into Glaive and Eps. Let's go. As here he's okay. He's looking to silence Spirit. We'll see if he can. Let's go. Spirit dropping into the main. Here he has very limited units to work with. Does rotate. Is somewhat keeping up. Yeah, he's in position. Welcome to Hero's Kitchen, exactly. Oh no. As here he will collapse on the army. Focusing down the medevac. Ooh, sentry goes down. But this army's gonna be cleaned up. He has Spirit, he tries to save whatever he can. He will lose everything. Yeah, the buyer, the Widowmine, the medevac, he does scout the researching upgrade, but I mean, how would he know that there's going to be glaives of all things? Of course, glaives, for those that are curious, this is a very committed here out of hero. Glaive and Eps, they do not scale well into a longer game. So we should be going for an all-in. How many gateways do we have? 3. Soon to be 5? I would imagine getting up to 6 gates. War Prism's now moving out. This feels very delayed. Like, this feels a little bit shaky. I mean, Hero was somewhat disrupted. But, yeah. Glaives is now done, and we're still yet to make use of it. Spirit across the map, building up more Raxes. He's on his 5-rack setup. You know what this feels like? This build from Hero feels like, as Raven comes in for harass, it feels like Hero wanted to hard counter Spirit's build from game 1. Like, if Spirit went for a 3rd CC before Starport again, then Hero would be able to get away with a 3rd base, and would be able to settle into the Glaive follow-up into an all-in, basically, and punish Spirit. Elucidation Scout confirms that there is still no 3rd. There's still more Raxes. Spirit, he's building up quite an army, and I'm not too convinced here by Hero's build. We have the Forge on the way. The Forge tells us that Hero plans on getting into not just +1, most likely into Charge or into Blink into a later game. Hero, he's still morphing in those adepts though. He's building them up. Again, he raced into the upgrade, an upgrade that he's not able to really make use of yet. There we go, now moving out. But I don't really know what he can get done here. Like, there's plenty to defend back at home. Here he has arrived. The bunker is set, the tanks as well. More depth's going to be reinforcing. I mean, here he could try to dive on that tank. It'll be crazy if he does, but I mean, he could. Does he have enough? I mean, the 3rd tank's on the high ground. Meanwhile, auto charge is popping off across the map. 7 perps go down. He commits. Oh my god, forcing friendly fire. The Marines, they go down. The boys are being pulled. Yeah, he breaks through. He breaks the tank. The tank is going to fall. Oh my god, the bio did crumble. And here he's pulling it off. He does force field the ramp. Nice save out of Spirit, saving the SCVs. But he will lose everything on the low ground. The depots, the bay as well. And here he shades up the ramp. Oh no. He wants the army. Does he commit? Oh, he does. Commits to the shade, takes out all the tanks. And here he's snowballing out of control. He will break his opponent. Then Glaive and Apps. Let's go. 25 SCV kills. Massive warping behind this. 8 adepts at a time. Across the map, well, there is a drop wreaking havoc. 17 probes go down. But here he's still on 2 bases, and Spirit he gets knocked down to 1. Here he can just keep going, jumping into the main, going for the tank. Adepse trade well. Oh, the pickup micro saves the Immortal. Oh, barely does not know. Prism goes down, Immortal as well. Meanwhile, the drop is still wreaking havoc. But now we have a defensive warp in. Here he does defend across the map. Spirit is down to 14 SCVs. Barely an economy. Spirit, he might be able to kill the expansion, but at this point it's too late. It's too late, papi. Mules are good. They're not that good. There's only 2 CCs. If there was a 3rd CC, then maybe. As it say shade into the main. Forcing a stim. Spirit, he's going to be able to reinforce. Moves out with another medevac drop. Did kill the 3rd. And again, I had my doubts. I had my doubts when it came to this build from herO. In my mind, his goal was to dive on top of the tanks and focus them down, but no, instead he dove on the bio army and he forced a lot of friendly fire. I mean, the Adepts traded well against the Marines anyway, but there was a lot of friendly fire on the bio as well. With that, herO, he broke through, focused on the tanks, and yeah, snowball out of control. It's crazy. This was crazy, papi. Oh my god. The build itself still felt a little bit shaky, but it worked nonetheless. It did work in the end. He made it work. As dropping to the main, depowers 3 of the gateways, denies Blink. Hey, not bad. Blink is denied. Spirit, he's trading well here, but he does need more damage. As some Marines are left behind, Spirit is still on a 1 base economy. I say 1 base economy, he's on half a base. Only 4 patches. Only 4 patches in the main. Not like this. Jumping back in. Blink is still not done. And here he's having a hard time keeping up. Spirit just being so annoying. Oh no. Oh my god. The full medic. Oh my god. Almost gets it. Almost. Now, what's important to note here is that Spirit does have a comparable army size. He does have a comparable army. He has potential in a head-on fight. Especially against an army that's lacking adepts. Prism goes down across the map. Adepts a trade. Twilight Council's repowered. herO attempting to expand. Sorry, Spirit attempting to expand. I mean, herO as well. Reinforcing with Mass Stalker. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing a handful of adepts here just to buffer. That's a lot of Marines. They can trade well against Stalkers. Spirit, he backs off. Does pull away. And here he has eyes on the main army. He can commit. Here he knows he's relatively safe at home. Recall is going to be available just in case. Spirit, he is looking to stabilize. He's on 13 SCVs. Let's go. He's holding on with the mules. I mean, I said earlier that mules are good, but they're not that good. That was assuming that herO held on to a 3rd. Just now, as he's expanding, because we've had 2 base versus 2 base, Spirit, he has a comparable economy. He's not out of this yet, as long as he's able to deny the 3rd base of herO. That's the problem here, is that herO has map control, and herO should be able to expand. And once he does, then he can be the first to max out. He can be the first to build up his army even further. Colossus production underway. Singular drop across the map. I'm not so certain that's going to be enough to deny the expansion. Can get into the mineral line, but yeah, not much more than that. Probes going down. There's the recall back home. Can he force a cancel? Uh-oh. He might be able to. Oh, it's gonna be close. Medevac goes down. Marines, they commit. Oh, can he get it? Oh my god, he does force a cancel. Not bad. It was a big investment here at a Spirit, but herO, he's still stuck on a 2-base economy. herO, he's still oversaturated, still long distance mining. Spirit landing his main as the third. We have a game. Like, Spirit, he's back up to 3 tanks. Catches the Observer. Technically, I would say that Spirit, he has more efficient mining than herO. What I'm getting at, Spirit, he has a better economy. 100%. He has a better economy here. But herO has the better army somewhat with Colossus. The first Colossus has arrived. Pushing into 4 tanks, not going to be easy. Not with that charge lots. Oh, here he blinks in. Gets the tank. Does get one. Denying the third at the same time. Drop across the map, getting to the mineral line. But herO, he will shut this down. A nice defense here by herO. Cleans up the drop. Across the map. Spirit, he does re-expand. Gets his third. Second Colossus has arrived. Disruptors are behind this. Disruptor production has begun. Third base is just now getting up and running for herO. Spirit, he's on his own. Essentially 3-base setup plus mules. And again, impressive. I mean, I was praising Spirit's drop play earlier, how he was able to make use of his multiple aggression to pull Clem apart earlier, at least a couple of days ago. And similarly here, it was the drop play that carried Spirit in this game, sniping bases, getting mineral lines. Remember delaying and denying a blink, and forcing herO back home. Has kept him in this game. Now herO diversifying, getting into Temple Archives, into Storm. Can he get there? Spirit, yo. I mean, he can knock down these rocks. He can float. I was gonna say he can float his natural. He doesn't need to. Like, he's still got full saturation. But if he can get that goal base up and running, that's gonna be huge. I mean, same for herO. herO taking the 4th. Both players building up. Rocks are being knocked down. Now here, because of this map control, taking this goal base is not going to be easy, even if we see an expansion here. herO, he has the center of the map, so he can deny mining with those Colossi. With Storm as well, assuming we take in that direction. Here he's got +3. His upgrades are solid. Double expanding behind this. Here he's up 30 supply. He's going to try to pull Spirit apart. Triple Adept into the natural. Hoping to force a reaction. Hopes they shade in. MaNa pushes forward, dives on the tanks. He gets 1, he gets 2. 2 tanks go down. Nice pickups. Disruptor has arrived. Nice force fields. Oh my god. herO, calm down. Force fields the army. Nova goes up in the mineral line. 25 SCVs go down. Adepts wreaking havoc. They finally get cleaned up, but the damage has been done. herO just pulling Spirit apart. And there it is. GG gets called. The Spirit has been broken. And herO takes the series at 2-0. GG. GG, well played. Impressive play there by Spirits. I feel like any lesser player, or almost any other player, would have died then and there to the initial Adept move out and Adept push by herO. But Spirit, he was able to bounce back in that game. Again, his drop play was able to pull him back, denying the third base over and over again, delaying some of the production, delaying some of the some of the upgrades, and keeping the army busy. And with that, GG. GG, well played. In the end, herO was able to eventually get his third up and running, then his fourth base, a fifth was on the way, reestablish his economy, and snowball out of control. GG, well played. Still an impressive play there by Spirit. herO will advance on, and herO will make it to the winner's match. And up next, that's what we have here before us. We have the winner's match between herO and Serral. Let's go. It is going to be a PvZ to determine which player makes it out first in Group B. Oh boy. Winner's match. Let's go. As we're just trying to set up a graphic as well, just so we can have a visual representation of the group. For now, we're going to be going on a break. We're going to be going in a short break. herO and Serral, they're currently conducting their vetoes. Vetoes are underway. Once they are done, once they've wrapped up, we can jump into that winner's match, and it's going to be a banger. It's going to be beautiful. I mean, personally, I love it whenever herO and Serral face off. It doesn't happen too often, but in these big major events, whenever they do face, whether it's at EWC, whether it's at Stars War 11, Masters Coliseum, it's always a treat. And I'm hoping it goes the distance. I'm hoping it delivers. We'll see. For now, we'll see you guys after the break. Take this time, get some snacks, get some food, get some water, get ready for the series to come. See you soon. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the winners match of the LiuLi Cup 2024 Grand Finals Group B. We've just been able to wrap up our first two series of the night, and now we're here to determine which player advances on to the playoffs in first place. Who's it going to be? As spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the South Korean Protoss player. Oh, good, I'm dying. The South Korean Protoss, the blue Protoss representing Weibo Gaming. It is herO. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the red Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Serral. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat as the Gamba is open for at least a couple of minutes here. And we'll see who makes it through into the first round or into the next round, into the playoffs in first place. Oh boy. Personally, I mean, this could go either way. Personally, I would love to see an ace match. I would love to see a game 3 between these two players, but the pressure is on. And coming into this, I would say that Serral is the favorite, is of course the favorite player coming in. But if there's ever a player to contend against Serral in the PvZ matchup, it is going to be herO. Now, what I will say, we're going to be loading into Abyssal Reef as game 1. An interesting choice here for game number 1, especially considering what we just saw in the first series between Serral and herO. And I'm sure, so we've seen Serral and MaNa, I meant to say. And herO, I'm sure he was watching. I'm sure he was watching. I'm sure he was paying attention. And as a result, I'm a little bit concerned for Serral. Abyssal Reef is one of the largest maps. One of the largest maps in the map pool. It is the most defendable map in the map pool as well. On a 3, 4, 5 base setup, it is much more easier on this map than any other map. I mean, arguably Violet Square, but more so than any other map, I would say, to secure yourself and to max out and to embrace Sky Toss. Now, herO, he isn't really one to do that too often, but he's willing to embrace Sky Toss nonetheless. I know that herO has an aggressive reputation, that is true, but if you're watching herO versus Shin in the grand finals of Alima League yesterday in that best of 5, then you would know that herO, he did rush into Sky Toss twice in that series. Did rush into a Fleet Beacon, into a second Stargate, into Tempest production, or even one game we just went single Stargate and single Tempest production. I believe that was actually on Abyssal Reef as well. So herO, he is willing to play that kind of way, that kind of style, to take advantage, I should say, of Abyssal Reef. Likewise, it's all in that kind of setup, in that kind of scenario where a Protoss player is able to comfortably get into a 4-base economy, that Serral did struggle against MaNa. So, we'll see. We'll see if herO does the same. So far, herO being assertive, hunting down an Overlord. It's going to be zoned away. Just shaving off some Lings. Nice trades nonetheless here from herO. Taking down 2 Lings and backing up. As there's a recall back home. As herO did open Stalker. Adepts are building up. Oracle's on the way as it was a Stargate opener. And the question becomes, what tech do we go for after the Stargate? Where we drop? Do we go into a Twilight Council, into earlier tech? It's going to be, okay, Oracle into Void Ray. Are we going for the Fleet Beacon? I'm curious. Lings that have arrived to delay the third. Alas, herO is in position. He should be able to expand. Oracle moves out. Oracle does move out, does take down at least some of the tumors, just maintaining some presence here on the map. Third base is on the way. Void Ray about to bounce, and the question becomes, where do we go from here? Void Ray into second Oracle, interesting. Now, the power of a Void Ray opener in this matchup is to hunt down Overlords. That's all it is, just to hunt down Overlords, deny vision, deny scouting, to make sure Serral is in the dark. And where do we go from here? There it is, Twilight Council. Twilight Council as the third base is halfway done, so we should be going into a Forge momentarily into +1 and Blink. There we go, Forge on the way, into our standard setup. So the Void Ray was a cheeky maneuver here by herO, and he will find an Overlord. True. Does get at least one. He's going to get a second. 2 Overlords going down. And here he's aware of the 3rd Overlord towards the north as well. So pretty good value so far. Catching 2 Overlords, supply blocking Serral. We'll take... Ooh, shield damage, but does escape. Does get away, looking for another Overlord. And again, should be able to find the Overlord here outside of the natural. Has yet to go for it, though. He has yet to commit. Meanwhile, plus on Blink, as I did mention, here we're just going to be saturating his third base and gearing up towards the mid-game. As Double Oracle does threaten the natural, getting 2 drones. 2 workers do fall. I mean, shout out to Serral, he does save the Overlord as well. He intentionally pulls it away. Does keep it safe. As an upside dive into the main. Nice target firing at a herO. Does focus on 5, 6. Oh my god, 7. Does he get 8? Oh my god, almost. 7 workers go down to the depths. Very nicely done. Double Oracle into the main. Queen's not quite in position, and he does not get another worker, but does scout all the tech. The Roach Warren, the Hydra Den. The researching buildings. And here he retreats. Again, still trading well, moving out with those Stalkers, forcing Serral back. And he's been trading well. Behind this, working towards Storm. We spoke earlier about how Storm-based opener and Storm-based play has been a little more popular as of late, thanks to the patch, of course. Thanks to NG Overcharge. So is taking into Storm. Just applying pressure. Here, he has no intention of pushing into these bases. It's all about just maintaining map control and maintaining creep control as well. As tumors are being focused down, and Serral's being pinned back. It's just all giving herO more breathing room, so he can tech. Gets another tumor, and going for the Queen. Doesn't dive, but does get a Queen. Queen goes down. Stasis goes off, and not bad. But the Stalker's getting caught out, and it looks like Serral he gets 2. 2 Stalkers do fall. Decent pickups. hero's being forced back. Playing with fire. Okay, calm down. Here he has to retreat. And Serral comes in with a surround. The punish is real. Gets another Stalker. He gets one. He gets two. Two more Stalkers go down. Storm coming in. Just now done in time. Oh, but the ladies are coming for the surround. And they get one. They do get a High Templar. Nice start stepping here from Serral. Gets the Void Ray. And here he's punished for being a little bit too assertive, a little bit too aggressive. Did need to back off sooner. And with that, that was 2 High Templar falling and 6 Stalkers. An Oracle as well. And again, Oracles, they do hold and maintain value over time. So now there's only 1 Oracle left. Behind this, here he's on 4 bases. As you did mention, the 4 base setup is quite secure, and the 5th base as well. As here he does move out. He's got 4 High Templar, soon to be 4 Storms. Doesn't want to waste them. See Serral moving up for a counterattack. Catching reinforcements. Oh, High Templar is going to get caught out. Nice pickup. High Templar goes down for Lings. So nice trades here by Serral. Double Lurker Den behind this. Hive is done. Serral trying to rush into Lurker tech. As he is stuck on Ling Hydra. But he's set up for a surround. Trying to collapse on the army. And herO, he has to back up. Storm does land. There's 2 High Templar left. Up, the Lings, they go for the dive. They force the Archon. No more Storms. And with that, Serral, he can kite well. He can shut down all the Zealots, shut down the Gateway Army. 1 more Storm or 2 more Storms would have been enough. The last Serral, he will clean this up. In a very efficient manner as well. And here he's down to, what, 3 remaining High Templar. He has 1 Storm. Does hold. But those are expensive losses for herO. See here, he lost 5 High Templar. Ay, ay, ay. And the 1 remaining Oracle. These have been rough trades. And the problem is that here he was hoping to break Serral before Lurkers. Lurkers are now morphing in. They're not ready yet, though. Lurkers okay ready, but they're about to finish. And here he has failed to break Serral before taking up. Lurkers have arrived, and now here he's forced into Sky Toss. So we go +1 air attack, second Stargate, and a Fleet Beacon all get thrown down as soon as Hero sees the Lurkers. This was never the initial plan, and because of that, this is a little bit late. It means that there's going to be a window. There's going to be a window in time where Serral is going to be able to be maxed out with Lurker tech, and Hero won't have Sky Toss. We'll see if Hero can survive. The pressure's on. Storm's not bad. They land the Lurkers, land the Lings. At the same time, Serral going for his own Lurker counterattack. He does have, of course, the low ground he can take advantage of. Here's him across the map. Ooh, he's shut down by the Queens. Oh my god, and the Lurkers are in position. At the same time, Hero does push in towards the low ground. Lurkers are coming from behind. They collapse on the army. Oh, there is detection, but so many Stalkers go down. Oh god, no. This was not the fight to take. Stalkers, they crumble. At the same time, Lurkers, they abuse the mineral line. Hero, he is denied mining, and Hero is falling behind. At this point, he is falling behind. Again, the aggression of Hero had potential, almost, but not quite. Throughout the course of the game, Serral, who's sniping High Templar after High Templar, stifling any kind of aggression or any kind of army that Hero had. Bought enough time. And now Hero has to be more defensive. Hero, he has to turtle up back at home instead. And now Serral has free reign. Serral has full map control, setting up for a Doom drop. Drop Lords are ready. Here comes the army to load up. Likewise, there are still Lurkers on the right hand side as well. And we'll see if Serral can break Hero. Now again, because Hero lost so much supply being aggressive, it means that coming into this defensive setup, Hero, he's down in army supply. He's further behind than he otherwise should have been. So he's having a hard time splitting up. Lurkers, once again, they get behind the mineral line. Serral pushing in. Nice clean up here by Hero. Things with the Lurkers, but they get dropped into the natural. Hero out of position. Serral moving in. Oof. Some panic storms out of Hero. And here he just cannot keep up. And not anymore. Here he was so committed earlier. And he was just not ready for this kind of game state. I mean, he was hoping to avoid it. And he didn't. Wasn't able to. We'll lose the natural. We'll clean up all these Lurkers. And we'll see if Hero can stabilize. Bearing in mind that Hero, over time, he's slowly catching up in supply, slowly maxing out. Serral, he rotates. Once again, gets behind the mineral line. Within range of the Nexus. Good production. Catching a robo, a gateway. You see Hero, yeah, he's all in. He's forced to counterattack. Essentially going for a base trade. Everything else is on fire. Everything else is flashing red. Pushing right down the center. The Lings, they could have a hard time against the Archons, but there's a wave of Lurkers on the way on the high ground. And once they finish up, Serral, he will defend. Oh, so he runs into the Immortals. Immortals, they pop off. Lurkers, they come in for the surround. And Hero, he's forced back. Here, he's just forced back from here. Did save his bases at least. Does still have that fourth. But the economy isn't there. Hero does have a comparable army to work with, though. Hatching at the Lings. Here he does take down an expansion. Hatchery is going to go down. Taking down 2 bases. Serral going for a massive counterattack. The lurkers are somewhat exposed. And here, can he collapse on the army? Nice cloak. Cloak is activated. Catching out the lurkers. 2, 3, 4 lurkers going down. Serral bleeding out a lot of supply here. And I mean, again, even though here his economy is lackluster, I mean, he can still pull this off. He's up to how many Tempests? 6. 6 Tempests for herO. He has plenty of storms. His army has come together. And there it is. GG gets called. Serral, he is going to be overwhelmed. And herO takes game number 1. Whew, GG. Oh my god. GG, well played. Oh my god, as I had assumed that initially Serral was going to be able to defend with his lurkers, that he was going to be able to hold on, but alas, he was not. He got caught out. So many lurkers went down earlier when he tried to move out, and herO, even though he had a less than ideal economy, he was like on 2 bases. He was like on a 2-base economy. He did have a terrifying army, and GG. GG, well played. herO takes a lead. herO does take a lead, and herO needs one more game to take down Serral and to advance on in first place. Whew, here we go. Now, what I will say is that Abyssal Reef is one of the more extreme maps out there, where it is, again, very defendable, and even though herO was losing workers, he wasn't losing bases. Like, he was still able to maintain a semblance of an economy to maintain himself and to maintain that sky toss. On some of these smaller maps, it is much more difficult to pull that off on, but this is going to be an interesting one. This is often vetoed. I'll be honest, I don't think I've casted on Ultra Love in a week, maybe more. It's been a while. I'll be honest, it's been a long time, but Ultra Love did not get vetoed here in this series, and we're loading in game 2. There's a lot to get into. Oh boy. There's a reason why it is often vetoed, as we do embrace game number 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the Blue Protoss leading the series 1-0, representing Weibo Gaming. It is herO. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the Finnish Zerg player, the Red Zerg, representing Basilisk. Down in the series, we'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is Serral. We go. Now, when it comes to Ultra Love, on the one hand, it is a smaller map. It is smaller compared to Abyssal, compared to Neo-Violet Square, King's Cove as well. So it is a smaller map, has a shorter rush distance by ground. But on the flip side, very defendable. Very defendable bases. Your natural, your 3rd base, your 4th base, your 5th base. We have very often seen a split map on Ultra Love because of how defendable the bases are, and also because of all the points of elevation. I'm referring to these ramps. We have very narrow ramps and choke points coming in past the halfway mark, whether it's here towards Zelnaga, whether it's further south, whether it's these narrow bridges in the center of the map as well. Because of that, whether it's TVP or TBT or ZVP even, we have seen a lot of late game here on Ultra Love. And I'm sure that's a scenario that Serral wants to avoid if at all possible. Likewise herO as well, to be fair. Like in the last game, even though Abyssal Reef is known for turtling and known for being more defensive, herO was very aggressive. I mean, he wasn't too successful, he wasn't as successful as he wanted to be with it, but he was able to fall back on a more secure base economy here, despite his aggression not quite killing Serral initially. So I'm curious how herO is going to approach this as well, as herO usually isn't one to back off and to slow down and to have a slower approach. Did take up into Skytools last game, but it was off the back of being in the face of Serral. That's how herO does typically approach things. So we'll see. We'll see how assertive herO is going to be this time in game 2. For now, Gate Expand, into Cybercore, Standard Opener, into Stargate as well. Everything looking as it should. See where Serral takes this. As we're getting to our third hatchery is on the way. Serral, he is saturating. It's building up. And this time, interesting, it is not going to be an Oracle opener, it's going to be a Void Ray opener instead. Okay, now if you recall last game, herO did open Void Ray, in a sense. He went Oracle into Void Ray, he was able to catch 2 Overlords. This time, Void Ray first. Now, with an earlier Void Ray, this tells me that herO's follow-up tech is going to be more hidden. It's going to be more difficult for Serral to scout. Is there anything to hide, or is it going to be a standard game? I mentioned before that we have seen herO rush into Tempest before. I'm not so certain that this is a good map for Tempest Rush. I mean, maybe I haven't seen enough of Ultra Love in that kind of scenario specifically. But the Void Ray does move out. And herO does expand. Third base is on the way. Oracle follow-up. And we'll keep an eye on the timing of the tech. As Serral is supply blocked. Ooh. Yeah, the supply block is brutal. Overlord went down. Serral attempts to scout. And the herO should shut down the Overlord as well. At the same time, Serral, he does threaten a run by. Once again, getting supply blocked. Losing all these Overlords can be frustrating. We can see, of course, no fast tech. There's a gateway, but there's no Twilight Council, no Stargate, at least not early on. Third base is almost done, and we should now be seeing a more standard timing. There we go, Twilight Council and Forge, +1 and Blink. So, Void Ray opener into a standard setup. Nothing too crazy out of herO, not in game 2. Let's say Thread in the Shade. Thread in the Shade. herO diving into the natural. Gets a couple of workers. 4 drones go down. Serral, he is aggressively spreading creep forward. Virtual One's almost done. Okay, Eva Chamber's on the way. Okay, with the Eva Chamber, should be working on upgrades. Serral, he's droning, getting a 4th base, and settling in. The pressure is going to be on herO to try to stifle this creep. I mean, it's already halfway across the map. We spoke earlier, this is a much smaller map compared to Abyssal Reef. So herO, he needs to be active. Speaking of, here he comes. Gets a Revelation. He does miss one of the active tumors, so a little bit unfortunate there for herO. Does miss a tumor. Threatens a Shade. Serral still spreading creep. Oh, can he deny it? Oh, barely. Barely does. Active tumor goes down. herO does find another, throwing down a proxy pylon. And how many gateways is he on? And getting him to 6. Getting him to a 6-gate setup. Still pushing in. Serral coming in from behind, catching reinforcements or going for the run by. Oh, the stasis though. Ooh. Does notice in time. Keen eyes at a Serral. Oh my god. Calm down. Oh, we'll bleed out some links though. As Serral is going to be cutting workers at 3-way saturation. He does not drone up the 4th. 65 drones. And is massing up Ling Roach. Lings and Roaches are building up. But Serral, he still needs more time. herO pushing in. Behind this, 2 more gates. It's going to be an 8-gate setup. No gases here at the 3rd. It's going to be a 3-base all-in. 3-base all-in here from herO. Files, they do connect. They take down one of the Stalkers. Ling's aiming from behind. The proxy gateway isn't ready. Barely not ready. But the warp-in will complete. Serral threatens taking down the tower. Files, they zone away. Tower is gonna fall. That will buy time. And that adds to how defensive Ultra Love is. But herO is still committed. With the Sanction's on the way, bold move out of Serral, taking up towards Hive. Going for a massive Ling run by. Nothing at home to defend. No static defense. No warp in. Forces a recall. Yeah, massive recall here. 6 probes go down. Ay, ay, ay. Ooh, nicely done here out of here. He locks down the Lings. Does knock them down. But Serral shuts down the proxy. Shuts down the proxy. He breaks free. The all-in has failed. I say that. Sorry, there was a backup. There was a backup proxy. Oh my god. Never mind. Here he can keep going. He is down to 7 gates though. So less warp-ins, less reinforcements, but that's still a lot of stalkers. Here he can still reinforce. He can still pull this off. Hive is on the way. Which again I feel like is too greedy from Serral. And here he dives in. He smells blood in the water. Wow, was it worth it though? Stalkers are going down. Lee's aiming first around. And Serral, he's holding. He is able to hold on. While staying up. They don't quite connect. Here he kites well. Oracles go down. No more stasis traps. And the longer this goes on, the better it is for Serral, as herO is completely all in. Does that +2 on the way? That will help. But there's no other tech. There's no Immortals, there's no Archons, no Storm, no Colossus, no splash damage. Just pure Blink Stalker. And without Oracles, he can't really trade against these Lings. Ideally, you'd have like Stasis Traps behind this. You'd have the Pulsar Beam as well to support. The Oracles just add so much more utility to this army. And without them, the pure Blink Stalker is just not as threatening. Nowhere near as threatening. Ooh, Bailey Rumbai comes in. 13 probes go down. Here he's now down in economy, down in workers. Still cannot get on top of those Ravagers. He's trying to. +2 is done. Another Ling Rumbai. And there's nothing. There's no shield battery. herO, he just commits. It's all or nothing. Here he commits in. Stalkers are going down. Where are the blinks? Blinks are late. herO was otherwise distracted. Stuck on a 2-base economy. Does get on top of the Ravagers though. Ravagers are going down. Here he goes to the dive. And this is a better trade for herO. But Painlings, they do crash in. herO, does he have enough? Down to 5 Ravagers. Lings are trickling in just in time. They trickle in just in time, and here he's running out of steam, running out of Stalkers. Does focus down more of the Ravagers. Is a close trade. The Ravagers complete. And all Serral has to do is just make Lings. Just make Lings from here. Trade with the Stalkers. 28 more Lings in production. And again, these are losses that herO cannot afford. We got more and more Stalkers. hero's trying to reinforce, trying to warp in. More Stalkers going down. A couple of boys are pulled as well. herO with 1 extra wave of reinforcements. He does get himself the Ravagers though. Okay. Does get himself the Ravagers. Is it enough? He's down to 7 It's only 7 Stalkers. No shot. Down to 7 Stalkers. This is it. This is the army. This is all that herO has left. 7 more Stalkers on the way. They come in to reinforce. Serral somewhat exposed to those Ravagers. Queens are going down. herO up to 11. After all this, once again, Serral, he peels off a couple of Lings, hits the mineral line, forces a defensive warp in. But here he's broke. Lings, they collapse on the army. GG gets called, and Serral, he ties up the series 1-1. We're going to the ace match. GG. We're going all the way to game 3. Again, here the attempted all-in, the attempted 8K 3-base all-in, I should say, had a lot of potential. If you recall, the big moment when Serral swung everything in his favor was when he went for the Ling Rumbai. He went for the Ling Rumbai at the 3rd base. That was when he forced the recall, if you remember. He forced herO to recall back home. With that, the proxy got shut down, and I believe it was right after that that herO felt pressure to push in. That's when herO lost his 2 oracles. And when the oracles went down, he had no more support for his army. Again, oracles are such a big part of these 3-base all-ins because of the stasis traps, because of the pulsar beams. Again, oracles, they do so well making sure that Lings cannot surround those stalkers. Once the oracles fell, Lings, they just wreaked havoc. The rings, they were uncontested, and we saw Serral have a much easier time trading with the army of herO. So a bit of miscontrol there out of herO losing those oracles, and with that, GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going all the way to game number 3. Let's go. We are going to game 3, and we'll see how this story ends as we load into another one of these smaller maps. We're going to be loading into ley lines. Oh boy. And I'll be honest, I would have preferred to have seen a 3-base all-in on this map, not on Ultra Love. Regardless, here we go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the South Korean Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Weibo Gaming. It is herO. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the red Zerg player from land of Finland representing Basilisk, tying up the series. Can he bring it back? Can he bring it home? It is Serral. And welcome on and all to Ley Lines. Ley Lines is likewise a smaller map, and the map pool has a similar, if not identical, rush distance to Ultra Love, except the bases are a little bit more exposed. We spoke earlier how defendable the bases are on Ultra Love, how many choke points there are, how many ramps, how many points of elevation there are on Ultra Love. Likewise, even the destructible tower as well to buy more time. Here on Ley Lines, there are some of those features, but not as many. So if herO were to go for something like a 3-base all-in that we saw last game, I do think it could be more effective on ley lines, but I also don't really like the idea of doing that build 2 games in a row. So I appreciate that we saw it on Ultra Love, but that does mean that we most likely will not see it here on ley lines. So I'm curious where herO takes us, as we should be seeing a very different build. The reason why, of course, this time I'm sure Serral is going to be a lot more on notice when it comes to scouting, when it comes to responding, when it comes to respecting that kind of setup. So the chances of an all-in like that working multiple times in a row is much lower. As a part of its effectiveness in the last game was its surprise factor. So for now we're just going to be expanding. Settling in. We go. As we have our standard openers here, getting into our take of choice, and we'll see what we go for. It should be a Stargate out of herO. There we go. Stargate has been thrown down. As a reminder, last game, herO did open Void Ray. He went for a Void Ray opener into the eventual 3-base all-in, and I wouldn't be opposed to herO opening a Void Ray once again, even if he doesn't all-in, just to keep Serral guessing. Just to keep him in the dark. The Stargate is about to finish. The 3rd base, of course, is on the way for Serral. And this time, not a Void Ray Oracle. Okay, it is going to be an Oracle opener out of herO, moving out across the map. So far, this looks like a standard setup. Oracle into a 3rd base, into additional Oracles behind this as well. So far, so good. Standard play out of herO. Second Adept has arrived. 2 Adepts, they can one-shot workers. They're just keeping eyes on Serral, keeping him honest. If Serral skipped out on Lings, for example, then he could be abused. But Serral, he has made his safety Lings. He's safe and sound at home. Oracle moves out. A second Oracle's on the way. herO, he will expand, and he should be safe. Should be safe. Here he gets 2 drones at the natural, not bad. into his triple Oracle. Just keeping tabs on Serral. And behind this, we should soon be seeing a Twilight Council and a Forge and the upgrades. Again, no big deviation from herO whatsoever. Serral likewise droning. There's a Twilight Council for herO. And we're just waiting for that Forge as well. And there it is. Forge is on the way. So again, it should be plus on a blink. Here he dives into the bases, does catch 2 transferring workers, no sport the third, gets a 4th drone. Very nicely done. As he does outmaneuver Serral. Lings, they get across the map, they get a surround, they catch an adept. Nicely done as well. Serral with some counter damage gets both adepts. Not as valuable as the 4 drones, but damage nonetheless. Did you see like the graphical glitch there? That was it's fixed, but there's something going on. Behind this, it is going to be Blink. There was an option to go into +1 and charge, but Blink is on the horizon. Double Oracle into the main. Gets 3 more drones, 7 in total. Nicely done. Oracles, they are pinned back in the corner of the map, but they can regenerate their shields. And we can see that Serral, he's going for +1 melee. What does this mean? +1 melee into a later lair means no Roachworn. No Roachworn. Baneless instead. It's going to be Ling Bane into Hydra into Lurker. So Serral, he is cutting corners. He is taking up quite greedily here. He could be punished for skipping his Roachworn, but herO isn't really doubling down. He isn't really committing to any aggression early on. Did throw in extra gateways into a Robo, but herO should soon be expanding. He should as soon take a 4th. As there's a tech from Serral. Lair is done. Hydrogen on the way. Again, Serral, he is skipping roaches this time. Here he pokes in. This time here he is not taking into Storm. It's going to be a Bay into Colossus. No Storm this time. herO is poking in. And Bailing run by has him set up. And herO doesn't react in time. He does move forward. Bailing's able to the mineral line. Ooh, does warp in. Oh no, they get in. Bailing's they do crash in and they get 4 probes. Whew, could have been so much worse. 4 workers go down. herO he defends. Stasis goes off, getting on top of the queens. Flush transfuse. Serral he's holding. Lings they collapse in. Even catching reinforcements. herO bleeding out a little bit too much here. Again, he's going to be stuck at home. Serral pushing towards that 3rd. The hatchery is taking a lot of damage. Down to less than half HP. herO, can he pull this off? Stasis goes off. Ooh. Not the best connections. The first stasis is going to run out. Hatchery goes down. Massive pickup. And here he has to get the hell out of here. As Lings, they swarm in. They attempt to surround. They get a handful of Stalkers. That was 4 Stalkers going down for 45 Lings and the hatchery. So a better trade from herO. Does pull away. So he has the backup expansion. He is taking the center base. And it's going to be in herO to knock that base down. And here comes a Colossus. herO again, he chose not to expand. He chose not to take a 4th base. Instead, taking into Colossi, extra warp-ins. Very committed play here by herO, throwing down 2 more gateways. Still no 4th. herO essentially 3 base all in. This time, instead of 8 gates, it's 6. It's less with Colossus. So 6 gateways, Colossus production. Massive stasis goes up, and Serral, he's in trouble. Serral, he's in a lot of trouble here. He needs more Lings. They attempt to surround, they get on top of the Robo. Colossus is denied, massive pickup, but it may not matter. Ooh, as another hatchery falls. And now here is up to 2 Colossi. And how can Serral push in? So many Lings going to be going down. And here he's going to make it out in first place. As he looks down another hatchery and another. Serral down to 2 bases. Down to 2 hatcheries. Ay, ay, ay. Again, who needs a fourth? Who needs one? Here he attempts to expand. Stasis goes up, dives on top of the army. The Hydras are exposed, and herO, he's done it. He's broken Serral. Oracle gets called out. Serral coming in from behind, catching reinforcements, but GG gets called, and herO will take the series 2-1, advancing on into the playoffs. GG. GG. Well played, congratulations, herO. He will claim the series, will advance on in first place. Very impressive, very aggressive play here out of herO as well. In game 1, game 2, and in game 3, herO, he was very much so in Serral's face, but that is the difference between herO and a player like MaxPax, for example. MaxPax is a lot more standard, a lot more macro-oriented, into the mid-game, into the late game. herO, meanwhile, very much so in your face. He's in your face, was in the face of Serral in all the games, even on Abyssal Reef, the game which led into a longer game state with Skytoss. Even then, herO was trying to kill Serral early on, wasn't quite able to pull it off, but did fall back on that Skytoss, did overwhelm in the end. GG. GG, well played. Even here in game 3, something that I wasn't really expecting was that, again, herO, he threw down extra gateways. He did not expand. He went for a 3-base all-in with Colossus support with a lower gateway count instead, and did quite well. Did quite well, did overwhelm, did punish Serral for his own build. I should wind it back, and if you recall, something that we were talking about is that Serral, he skipped his roaches. He was going straight Ling Hydra into lurkers. Serral, he was cutting corners, and against an all-in like this, Serral was vulnerable. He was vulnerable. Again, his army was very much so weak against that splash damage against the Colossus, especially when they arrived. There was 0 roaches to defend. GG. GG, well played. And I believe we now have a way to show off what we are up to. Hold on. Let's see if this works. Not quite. Let's see. As vetoes are underway, we're getting ready for our next series. There we go. As we switch our scenes over and catch up on the group itself. We can catch up on the group. Here we go. We have Group B, so we started things off with Serral versus MaNa. Serral took down MaNa 2-1. herO took down Spirit, and again, herO, he did claim the series in the winner's match to make it through in first place, and we have 2 series left. Up next is the elimination match. There's gonna be some Poland on Poland action here, Polish on Polish, if you will. Spirit versus MaNa up next in a TVP. Here we go. So we're going to be going on a short break. Vetoes are underway as we speak, and when we come back, we will have that Turn versus Protoss, and of course, that leads us into the final series against Serral. As Serral, he is in the decider match. He still has another game ahead of him. For now, we're going to be going on a short break, and we'll be back soon with our next series. See you soon. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the group stage. The group stage of the LiuLi Cup 2024 Grand Finals Group B. We just wrapped up. With our winners match, and now we're here with our decider match. Oh, sorry, with our elimination match to find out who's the first player out of Group B. Here we go. Here we go. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have the Polish Terran player, the red Terran. It is Spirit. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck in the chat as get your gamba going. Wow, you can, Pappy. Wow, you can. Here we go. Best of one, exciting. It says best of three. If you are looking in the chat. Meanwhile, Spirit, just start off with a proxy. Let's go. We have a proxy before us. We have our two SCVs being sent out across the map, setting up for the proxy 2 ranks. Oh, not just 2 ranks, as we have a 3rd ranks back at home. Oh boy, it's gonna be a short one. Oh, never mind. Okay, sends out 2 SCVs, one for scouting and the other for the proxy, setting up the eBay as well. This is very committed, by the way. Jesus, investing into the 2 racks, investing into the eBay as well. Very committed here by Spirit, and we'll see how many worker kills he can get. Let's go. Assuming this is proxy Reaper, not proxy Marauder, I'm making that assumption, but we'll keep an eye on Spirit to see how hard he does commit. As it is going to be the Marine back at home, and yep, proxy Marauder, okay, so it's going to be hitting a little bit later. So it does try to force the unnatural. Marauders are on the horizon here, and we'll see if Spirit can catch MaNa with his pants down. Here we go. We'll see if he can set it up. As we see MaNa forced to make the initial Zealot. Stalker is being cornered as we speak. You see Spirit here trying to get some extra progress. Ooh, on the eBay. Being as annoying as possible. Concussive Shell is being researched. Marauders are building up. So the Marines, and eventually Spirit, he will pull the trigger. And MaNa's in the dark. MaNa, he did not probe scout. He's stuck at home. He has seen nothing. Does force a cancel. And MaNa, ideally, Spirit wants to catch his army out on the map. Does want to catch him out. Getting a second Marauder. MaNa waddling in. Some of the boys are being pulled. And here we go. It's all or nothing for Spirit. Now, Spirit, he will miss the Stalkers. Ideally, he would have liked to have caught at least one of them. But he does miss them. And, oh no! He doesn't wall off! He does not wall off! And we could end up in a weird base trade. Here we go. As the boys have arrived, Spirit pushing up into the main, bunkers on the way, and MaNa does get in. Does bust into the main base, one of the Stalkers is left behind, is left out, boys are being pulled. And workers are falling, SCVs and probes. One Stalker goes down, massive pickoff. Spirit, he holds. He does hold and across the map, but he does force a recall. And the bunker's almost done. Can he deny the bunker? He can. Bunker is denied, but that's 3 Marauders here to deal with. And I think Spirit, he's done it. He has done it. He takes out every single worker, takes out one of the Stalkers. There's 1 Stalker left. Kites well against the probes. More Marauders have arrived, and Spirit, he's snowballing out of control. At this point, he's just snowballing completely out of control, takes on every single Stalker, the boys as well. And the bunker, he can finish it. He can finish. No, GG gets called, and Spirit takes game number 1. Ooh, GG. Spirit does take a lead in the series, and does kick things off with a 1-0 lead. GG, well played. So start things up with the lead. Again, a very cheeky build here out of Spirit, going for a very committed, essentially 1 base all in out of Spirit, investing into the eBay block as well. He was able to catch MaNa with his pants down. MaNa had no idea what's going on. Remember, MaNa, he did not probe scout. There was no probe scout. There was no vision of what was going on. He was caught with his pants down. And with that, Spirit is 1 game away from advancing on to the decider match. Here we go. Now, I want to believe that MaNa can actually, I mean, I think we've seen him defeat Spirit before, but can he get into his game? That's the thing. Can he get into his game? We spoke earlier in the herO series how Spirit, he is known for his greed, he's known for cutting corners, but specifically in this matchup, he is willing to cheese the hell out of you. Now, I don't expect another cheese in game 2. I don't expect another proxy. I expect maybe even the exact opposite of that, and we might even see a faster, either natural or faster third base. We could see something more greedy instead. The kind of the other side of the coin, the other extreme. Depending on the map, of course, as we are waiting for that second game. Here we go. The king is dead. Ah, the king, the Night King even. Oh my god. But yeah, here he played well. Here he did play well. I mean, again, it's one of those things where here he is one of the best Protoss players in the world, so he's one of the few that can contest against Serral, especially the best of 3. And we got what we wanted. We got an ace match out of it, even more than that even. And that does mean that we can enjoy some more of Serral in the next series, as he's waiting for the winner of Spirit and MaNa. Oh. As we have our second game. A map that we have not embraced yet in this broadcast tonight. Game 2 is going to be on Frostline. Oh boy. Frostline is coming up next. We're loading in. Now, Frostline, again, it's one of the larger maps of the map pool, but also very exposed bases as well. So I'm curious to see if we can even embrace the mid game here. We do typically favor aggression here on Frostline. We'll see which way this goes, and what kind of openers we go for. As we are loading into game number 2 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Frostline, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss, representing Team Liquid down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Terran player. We have the Polish Terran leading the series 1-0. It is Spirit. Here we go. And this time, the SCVs are at home. This time we have our racks at home, our SCVs are at home. This time there is no cheese, there is no proxy. As we mentioned, we did not expect Spirit to go for an all-in 2 games in a row, or cheese 2 games in a row, or proxy 2 games in a row. That is just not typically how you want to approach things at this level of play, which means we could see the inverse here. For now, racks first. Should be racks into expansion. Spirit, I would imagine, opening up with a single gas geyser. No shotties. Oh my god. And yeah, this is what we expected. So, Spirit, this is one of the greediest. So technically, you can go CC first, I guess, but that is even more of a rarity. This is not just a Rax expand. This is a Rax without any gases. This is a gasless opener here by Spirit. Very greedy, but again, as we mentioned, this is what we expect. Game 1, you cheese. Game 2, hyper greed. And we can see that MaNa is scouting. He's checking for proxies. He's paranoid of what the hell's going on, and will eventually move out across the map. Does MaNa set up... Okay, no, he's scouting. I was going to say, does he set up his own proxy location? That's not the case. Or is it? Hello, MaNa. What's going on? Proxy Stargate? Do we have a pylon? What do you have for us? Cybercore is now finishing up. Gonna be just expanding into Cybercore. And MaNa, he comes up with his own scouts. I should have emphasized this as well. I believe MaNa did go Nexus before Cybercore as well, so both players being greedy, but Spirit even more so. As the CC is now done, it's going to be Rax expand gasless into a second Rax, into most likely a third Rax, into a 3-Rax setup. Technically, Spirit could even go for a third CC before a third Rax. No shot, but he could. That'd be crazy. As again, MaNa, he's aware. He did scout MaNa. He saw how early the CC was, so he's aware how greedy Spirit has been. It is going to be a Twilight Counts opener out of MaNa into, I would imagine, Blink, and we'll see how many gateways get thrown down. As Blink is on the way, second gateway is placed. MaNa could either respond to this with greed and throw down a faster third nexus, or with aggression and throw down a third and fourth gateway. So far, a 3-gate setup here out of MaNa. Behind this, 3-rack setup here by Spirit, 3 racks into Stim, into Combat Shields, into a Bio composition, into a Bio move out. This typically leads into a Stim timing. As the factory is on the way. eBay as well for +1. And Spirit, he's just building up. And he will eventually move out again with Stim. Building up his Marines. It's going to be on MaNa to figure out what's going on and to slow down the push. With his 3-gate opener, he can do so. He can be active with Stalkers and expand behind this. Ooh, as MaNa never scouted the main. So he's unaware. You can see here MaNa, he's getting ready for drop play. As we can see, it's anything but, as there is no starport. So MaNa, he's just being very safe, very defensive, as he is in the dark as to what's going on. He has incomplete information. Here comes the War Prism to move out. And we'll see if MaNa can engage with the main army. Here we go. Does move out across the map. He's got his 8 Stalkers. Stim is now done. Spirit here is now going to be active, this time with a handful of Marauders as well. Spirit also has no scouting, by the way, but he doesn't need to. He can make assumptions here. MaNa going for a third. This is a later third base for MaNa. Did invest quite heavily into these Stalkers, which means he has to get something done with it. We'll see if he can. Now, because of the 3-racks opener and the 3x build, Spirit has no tanks. There are no tanks here to defend. Only Marines and Marauders, but he has Stim. He dives in. The boys are being pulled. Spirit, he stems in and going for the Prism. And the Prism up. Oh my god, barely to survive. Oh, I spoke too soon. The Prism goes down. The Blink gets punished. And MaNa has to back off. So far, good trades here from Spirit. Medevacs have arrived. Two Marines go down. A Marauder as well. MaNa trading with the army. Does trade, comes in from behind, catching out reinforcements, going for the mineral line. SCVs are going down. Up, and MaNa, he blinks in. He dives further into the bases. There's no way out of this. Gonna try to avoid the main army. Oh, can he get a medevac? Up. Oh, cannot. Medevac does survive. 3 Stalkers escape. At the same time, MaNa rallying into the natural. Very chaotic here, MaNa. He's throwing away a lot of Stalkers. And is it worth it? So far, 5 Stalkers for 3 SCVs, 3 Marines, and a Marauder. It's an okay trade. It's okay. But MaNa, Spirit, he breaks out. Once again, though, as he moves out, MaNa moves in. Shatters to the Observer. Sees everything. The Observer sees all. MaNa once again pushing towards the natural. Spirit, he this time does not flinch. He commits. He's had enough defending. He wants to move out. He knows how vulnerable MaNa is back at home. Oh, might just look back go off. There's the recall. And MaNa, what does he have to defend? He has a handful of Stalkers, no Immortals. Nice force fields, though. I'll pick up. Spirit forced to rotate, so going towards the third base. The first Immortal has arrived just in time. Spirit does take down Stalker. Double drop towards the main. Spirit sims in. MaNa a bit out of position. Up. Catching a sentry. Potentially an immortal as well. Oh, he wants it. He gets it. The immortal goes down. Massive pickoff. And GG gets called as a drop comes into the main. And MaNa gets pulled apart. Spirits will take the series at 2-0. GG. GG, well played, Spirit. He will claim the series, a very short series as well. Game 1, of course, did end in a 1-base all-in. Game 2, we had Spirit here instead going for 2-base aggression. MaNa did misread the start of the game, so MaNa was falling behind. He, of course, did delay his own third base. He had extra Stalker warp-ins. He had to do something with his army, but he did not trade well enough, and Spirit was able to break out. Snowball out of control. MaNa had yet to stabilize. MaNa could not keep up with the aggression of Spirit. GG. With initial greed and then aggression of Spirit. With that, GG, well played. Spirit will advance on, and we have one series left tonight. One series remaining. It all ends here. It all ends. Oh. It all ends in a ZVT. Let's go. As we switch our scenes over and have a look at the brackets. A series that I've been looking forward to here. Up next, we have the final match here in the decider match. We have Serral as the best Zerg player in all of Europe, in the entire world even, up against Spirit. Spirit, of course, has been on the rise. Spirit, he's one of the top Terrans in Europe, in the world as well. And they're about to duke it out here in a best of 3. Only one can advance on, the other will be knocked out. We're going to be going on a short break. When we come back, we'll have that final match of the night. See you soon. See you soon. And welcome back, everyone, to the final match of the night, to the group stage of the LiuLi Cup 2024 Grand Finals, Group B. We already have our first player advancing on in herO. herO did make it through in first place out of this group, and now we are here to determine the final player to advance on. Will it go the way of the Terran or the Zerg? We're here to find out. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Polish Terran player. We have the blue Terran. It is Spirit. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have as opponent, we have the red Zerg player from the land of Finland, representing Basilisk. It is Serral. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. Happy. For the final time tonight, it is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chats. Coming into this, Serral is the heavy favorite. That is true, but he was also the favorite player against herO. We saw how that went. Spirit definitely has it in him to take it down to Serral. I do feel, as we just as we just go CC first, this is the Spirit that we know and love. We saw this similarly in the previous game as well when Spirit did open Gasless. Here, CC before Rax. This is the greediest opener you can go for in this matchup. Welcome to ley lines. This is not a large map, by the way. It's a bit of a smaller map, but Serral isn't really one to open up with a pool first, isn't really one to open up aggressively. So Spirit, he will get away with this. Will get away with more economic start. If he was up against an earlier pool into Roach aggression, into a Roach rush, then Spirit would be in trouble. Against a player like Shin, against a player like Rogue, against a player like Dark, against some of the top Korean Zerg players, it can be considered to be crazy and unsafe to open up in such a manner. CC first into Rax, into a third CC, not just a third CC before Starport, that is a third CC before Factory. Again, it's almost like Spirit is playing on Radza Station. This is how you would play on Radza Station, for example. This is how you would play on Neo Violet Square. This is crazy, but if Spirit can get away with this, he will skyrocket ahead in the mid game and he will have a lead, and that's what you want against a player like Serral, against a player that you know is arguably is the best Zerg player in the world, one of the best Zerg players in the world, period. Then you want a lead like this. So very, very much so cutting a lot of corners, and we'll see if Spirit can get away with it. This is crazy. Oh my god. The greed, Pappy, the greed. As Serral is coming in with the Overlord Scouts and will be denied by the Marine. Yeah, the Overlord is denied. Serral has no idea what's going on. Serral is in the dark. Let's go. Let us go. As we do see Serral getting his own third at a standard timing. Joining up, moving out with some Lings, trying to get a read on what's going on. And again, like, this is so risky what Spirit is doing, especially on ley lines, and I believe he should get away with it. So we have a second Rax behind this, of course, into a 3cc 2-1-1 setup. It's second Rax into double eBay. Like, Spirit, he's cutting everything. Oh my god. This is the greediest build you could ever go for. I want to say on Radza Station, I think I remember seeing Spirit going 4th CC before Starport. Like, I have seen Spirit cut even one more corner above this, but again, that was on a map where it is more viable. Here less so, but still double E-Way, double upgrade before Factory, before Stim, before add-ons, before anything else. The Scout is denied. Serral, he sees nothing. And yes, Spirit is an animal. There's a third Rax as well. Jesus. Oh my. If you're out there in the chat, if you're a Terran player, if you're an animal, if you see this, do not do this on the ladder. This is not safe at all whatsoever. This is crazy. You do this, you die on the ladder, Pappy. So like a random like Bane bust, random like Roach aggression. Jesus. This is the army. 3 Marines. We're getting into the 5-minute mark. Like this is all the Spirit has. Meanwhile, across the map, Serral is getting his third base, getting saturated. Serral at this point, he has noticed no Hellions, right? He has noticed no Hellions, so he's aware that something is wrong. He's going to be opening up Lair first, still droning. Based on the low Marine count, Serral, he might be just cutting off the idea of a 2-1-1. It should be a 2-1-1. Yeah, it's going to be lair into a Baleen Nest. Very standard, also safe opener here out of Serral. Serral, he's going to be prioritizing Baleen speed. He's going to be delaying Evo Chambers and delaying upgrades. Spirit is going to have a massive lead with these upgrades. Damn. Damn. It's just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. Spirit is now taking his third. Serral now aware of the timing. Attempts to delay. Again, Stim isn't even done. And well, 1-1 finishes before Stim. Like that's crazy. As it is all wrapping up, getting into combat shields thereafter. Serral, he will finally scout with the Overseer, of course, and finally realize what's been going on. And Spirit, he's gone away with everything. He's gone away with it all. Now, thankfully, Serral is teching. We do have a Hydrogen on the way. Hydrogen is on the way into double Evo Chamber, into double upgrades, 4th expansion as well. Serral, he's not being anywhere near as greedy as Spirit, but he's, you know, at least investing into tech, investing into upgrades. He isn't over saturating, or I should say overspending on his army, on Ling Bane. Scout is denied for the most part, but Serral, he saw what he needed to. He saw the 5-1-1 setup here. Didn't see the upgrades, but I mean, I'm sure he clicked on the Marines, so he knows that the upgrades are done. He's aware just how much greed Spirit is going away with. Like the upgrade should not be done by now unless Spirit did cut all those corners. So he knows. But again, Spirit, he got away with it. Did get away with it. Oh, but now he's going to be denied. Serral keeps up. He's zoned Spirit away. Now, what I'm most concerned by, you know, we're talking about like all these corners that were cut, all the greed of Spirit, that is all true. This doesn't come into play until 2-2. You can see your Spirit, he's making 12 Marines at a time. 12 Marines, he's producing tanks, 1-1 is done, and this 2-2 timing is going to hit like a truck. It's going to hit much faster than normal, and it's going to hit with all this production now kicking in, now that the third base is saturated. So this is when Spirit can hit his stride, can really snowball out of control. This is the timing, the purpose of his build, of the opener, is to snowball out of control in the mid-game. Is he 8-raxing? 7. Jesus. This looks like a 3-base all-in. This does look like a 3-base all-in here from Spirit. And he can make it 12 Marines at a time. Producing tanks, no Marauder production, bear that in mind, just purely Marine. And 2-2 is about to finish. And here comes Spirit. Again, it's all been building up to this moment. Spirit, he splits up his forces, clearing up creep. Queen's under fire. Banelings are going to be denied. Not quite. Oh, Spirit, he doesn't get eyes on this. Serral setting up a surround. Banelings do complete. Serral is max. Spirit not too far behind, though. And again, Serral, he needs a couple more seconds here. Ooh, Banelings, they trickle in. Is the surround going to be good enough? And here we go. Serral, he goes. Oh, not quite. Pulls back, bleeding out some lings. Serral looking to commit in, going for a massive counterattack instead. Which means Spirit can take the fight. He can move forward at the same time, does wall up. Spirit, he does not turn around. Which means back at home, oh, the wall is going to stand strong. Never mind. Okay, Serral, he's going to bust down that wall. Banelings, they crash in, they knock down the depots. Lings, they flood into the natural. And it's all or nothing for Spirit. He is all in. Spirit, he supply blocked. Supply block back at home. More depots on the way. Serral's going to try to break out. We'll get on top of the tanks. Comes in for the surround. And Serral looks like he will have enough. Takes out every single tank. Collapses on the army. Shuts down the bio. But Spirit, he has more on the way. He has more reinforcements on the way. The reinforcements were delayed because of the run by earlier. Otherwise, potentially, Serral would not have been able to take that fight. But Spirit, he's not done. He's not done. Tank will siege. Once again, Serral trying to catch reinforcements, going for the run by. Setting up behind the army of Spirit. He does spot the Lings. Turns back around. Yeah, without bailing, Serral he cannot engage. Ooh, as a lot of Lings go down. Spirit rotating towards the left. Denying creep. That's a lot of creep here. Going for a double drop. A +3 attack. Soon to finish. +3 defense is delayed. Spirit, he had the money for it. Never began it. So his upgrade advantage not as large as it otherwise could have been. 3-3 could have been finishing up by now. If only it wasn't for the round by. Speaking of, Serral once again setting up. Moving out on the right hand side. Ooh, catching a free tank. Very nicely done. Tank goes down. Spirit still moving out with that double drop. Tank is exposed. Tank goes down as well. Serral just picking Spirit apart, catching 2 tanks. And suddenly what should have been a 3 tank push is down to 1. 1 tank left. Serral once again collapsing in the army. Shaving off some Marines. Setting up for a flank. Double drop here into the mineral line. Drones are going down, but Serral can't respond. Nobody will lose the base. The hatchery goes down. Massive pickup. Spirit threatening a dive into the main. Both armies are maxed. Again, +3 is good. 3-3 would be better. +3 defense over halfway done. Needs a little bit more time, but 2-2 also about to finish here for Serral. And the tank is exposed again. It's only 1 tank. Spirit, he's going to be forced back. The spread is decent, but oh, Bailey's a connect. They shut down the tank. And Spirit is being forced all the way back home. Double drop gets cleaned up as well. Serral, he defends, he attacks. And Spirit, he's running out of steam. Remember, this was a 3-base all-in the entire time. He has been all in. And he barely does not have enough. I mean, Spirit, he had potential. He had a lot of potential here. I want to say the MVP of this defense for Serral was the run-bys, the counterattacks. Delaying reinforcements, crippling some of the economy, supply blocking Spirit. If it wasn't for the run-bys, then we could have seen a very different outcome. As Serral collapses on the tank, takes down the tank. Bailey's a connect. GG gets called, and Serral, he holds. He takes game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. A crazy game 1. Again, Spirit, he got away with so much greed at the start of the game, opening up with a very fast natural into an even faster 3rd base, into double E base, into that 2-2 3-base all-in, which did hit quite hard. But again, Serral did a great job at just buying time, slowing down the push, delaying reinforcements, supply blocking his opponent, hindering the economy, and throwing a wrench in the works as well. Because of all that aggression as well, we saw that Spirit, he forgot +2. He forgot +3 armor, is what I meant to say. Did forget +3. As a result, it was, I mean, barely came into play, barely was a factor in that game towards the end. And with that, GG. GG, well played. Serral takes the lead, and now we're getting into game number 2. And game 2 is going to be, on a much larger map. Game 2 is going to be on Abyssal Reef. Oh boy. Okay, so we've spoken about Abyssal Reef before. It is a very large map, very macro oriented. The last time we casted a TVZ on this map, we did see mech, and we have seen Spirit embrace mech before. So if he were to play mech, this would be the map to do it on. Not saying he has to, but it is an option on Abyssal Reef. So he could mech it up. We'll see. Otherwise, he could, of course, just embrace bio and get into a longer game state. I don't expect another 3-base all-in. After seeing the initial 3-base all-in last game, I don't expect to see that here. Especially not on Abyssal Reef, where the map is kind of working against you for being aggressive in such a way. And here we go. Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Abyssal Reef, we have the Polish Terran player, the Blue Terran, down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back. It is Spirit. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Finnish Zerg player, the Red Zerg representing Basilisk, leading the series 1-0. It is Serral. Here we go. As I wouldn't be surprised if Spirit, never mind, I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for a CC first once again. It is going to be a Rax initially here from Spirit, so not cutting as many corners as he did in the previous game. Rax into Gas Geyser, into a more standard CC timing instead. So Spirit, he got it out of his system. I would say that here on Abyssal Reef, it is more viable to open up with a CC first, but it does look like Spirit, after doing it in game 1, it doesn't feel as confident getting away with it here in game number 2. Maybe a little bit afraid that Serral would try to punish him a little bit harder and be more aggressive this time. So we're slowing things down. Gonna be slowing things down instead. We'll see how our players do deviate, as we're going to get our command center here on location. From here, we'll see if Spirit goes into a 2-1-1, into a 1-1-1, into a third CC before starport, which is what we expect to see. Something more standard, like Banshee play. As I mentioned before, mech is a lot more viable here on Abyssal Reef, so that is another option. We'll keep an eye on, again, the opener to see if an extra factory gets thrown down, an armory. Keep an eye on Spirit. As the Reaper does dip in. Dancing with the Lings. Rotating into the main. And we're just waiting for that follow-up here. Okay, you have my attention. Spirit going for a 1-1-1 on Abyssal Reef. This I was not really expecting. So this is very aggressive build here from Spirit, going for the faster starport. Tech Lab is on the way. This should be leading to an add-on top into Banshee play. Because of how committed this is, though, we could even see an armory into a Hellbat push, as we're going to be committing into those Hellions, into early Banshee production. Tech Lab is finishing up, and we should be seeing that add-on swap. Here we go. No, he's rushing to Stim. Okay. This looks like a Stim Hellbat push instead. No add-on swap, fast Stim. We have the Viking on the way to shut down the Overlord, to deny vision, to deny scouting. Building up more Hellions, and this is very committed here from Spirit. Oh boy. Now, there's a bit of a give and take going on. Hello, as he delays. Okay, he goes for an earlier add-on swap. Only 4 Hellions. He could have kept going. Could have kept going up to 6, up to 8 Hellions. Throws down 2 more Raxes. So this is not going to be Hellbats, as the Hellion count is too low. But this is an early second and third Rax. This looks like the beginning of a 2-base all-in. Does look like the beginning of an all-in here, as this is a very delayed third base, if a third at all. Now, Serral, he is somewhat aware. He saw the Raxes. He saw the Raxes, at least. Is going for a lair first. Lair into a Baneley Nest. Baneley Nest momentarily into Ling Bane. Ling attempts to scout. I like this even more. No Banelings. It's going to be Lings into Roaches. A very safe play. Roaches and ZVT are just very defensive. I mean, sure, we can see like Roach all-ins. That is a factor. That is something that does occur from time to time. But Roaches in general are ideal against 2-base all-ins. Against 2-base aggression, you do want Roaches on your side. The reason for this is because Roaches, they're not very supply efficient, but Roaches are very larva efficient. And especially against all-ins, as you have limited larva and limited injects and just limited bases, that is where your larva is very much so a resource to use. And it can be quite difficult keeping up with pure Ling Bane production, just because it's so larva intensive. So Roach speed is on the way. Roach is going to be popping out. They can then morph into Ravagers, and with Ravagers, you're going to have a stronger supportive unit against these tanks. Two base all in. There we go. 2 more racks is on the way. It's going to be a 5-rack setup on 2 bases, no third TC. It's all or nothing for Spirit. One way or another, the game is going to end. Either Spirit breaks Serral or he dies trying. Now, behind this, Spirit, he should be hitting with +1. +1 is on the horizon, so +1 is going to finish. As a reminder as well, only 1 eBay. Only 1 eBay, so only just the 1 upgrade here for Spirit. And here comes the initial move out. Is going to be pushing across the map. Remember, Stim is done. Combat shields on the horizon. Medevacs are reinforcing. They're on the way. As Spirit, he does move in ahead of time. Clears up all the creep. Roach Ravager is building up. And Spirit, he is getting within range of the mineral line. Again, the tank, you can get in position here within range of the mineral line itself from across the ravine. Serral catching reinforcements. Oh, doesn't quite get the tank. I love that the Hellions were left behind to help escort the tank. Do love to see it. Spirit, he fully walls up. He's pushing in. Does move in. He saw this 3-tank setup. The vials! Ooh, gets the tank. 1 tank goes down. Nicely done. Again, the power of the Ravagers. As Roach Ravager has been building up. And can he get on top of another one of those tanks? Yeah, he does hit the low ground as well. Spirit, the concave is brutal. And Serral, he will just shut down the all-in. Shuts down 1 tank, 2 tanks, all 3 tanks as well. And there's almost nothing left. Against Serral, he played it out very safe. Didn't overdrone, he got up to 3-base saturation, did not saturate the 4th, just for larva, just for roaches and ravagers. And with that, he shuts down the all-in. And Spirit, he's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble back at home. It's set up out on the map. Nice tank volleys. Tank volleys do go up. We have Burrow on the way into, I would imagine, Tunneling Claws. Serral taking into the Infestation Bit, into the Bailey Nest, into Ling Bane, Roach Ravager. Now, Spirit, he's not out of this yet. He's going for a triple drop on the right-hand side and a singular drop towards the left. I mean, Serral, he's about to max. He's, almost got double the supply here, Spirit. We'll see what Spirit can get done. Does drop into the mineral line. Drone's going to be going down. Black here on the left-hand side as well. Nice target firing. Going for the hatchery. Oh, he does take it down. Denies Burrow. Burrow is denied. Natural goes down. A full medevac will fall. But despite that, nice damage here from Spirit as he comes back in. Have their roaches ready. Despite that, Spirit, he will overwhelm. Takes down a couple of workers, but he won't get much more done. Serral keeps up. Serral does keep up. Spirit's drop play continues. The problem, though, is that Serral's soon going to counterattack. Serral, he's just waiting for 2-2. 2-2 is on the way. Bailey's speed is on the way as well. Once they wrap up, then Serral can push. Until then, Serral is stuck at home. Serral, he is stuck defending. Spirit working up with another tank army. And supply-wise, I mean, Spirit, he has a comparable army to Serral. It's comparable. Bearing in mind that Serral's army supply is inefficient. Diving on the tanks, the Lings, they get through. And they barely do not get the tanks. Oh my god, Spirit, he takes the fight. The tanks, they hold their ground. Lings do fall. Serral has to calm down, has to back off, has to wait for reinforcements. Jesus, the tanks are so low. The Wiles, he gets 1. 1 tank goes down. Bailing speed has completed. Wiles, they come in from the flank and they take down another tank. There's only 2 tanks left. Baileys, they crash in. Ooh, massive connections. And GG gets called. Serral, he holds, he defends. And Serral will take the series at 2-0, advancing on to the playoffs. GG. Whew, GG, well played, Serral. He will claim the series 2-0. My condolences, Spirit, but he had some wild builds here in this series. GG, well played, Spirit. He played well. And again, even game one was close. Was very close. Shout in the chat, see, had to run off. How on earth did Serral win the first game? In game one, Serral, he did a great job at supply blocking Spirit, at catching reinforcements, delaying the reinforcements as well, and delaying the all-in. As Spirit, he did build up towards a big 3-base all-in. It was a terrifying all-in at a Spirit, but Serral did disrupt him, did slow him down enough to build up, to buy time, to survive. It was crazy. I feel like game one was the highlight of the series for sure. Here, game two was also crazy to see Spirit go for a 2-base all-in. 2-base all-ins in ZVT are not very common. As you can imagine, they're not very common in this matchup, and they're very difficult to pull off as a result, especially on Abyssal Reef as well. I do think that Spirit, he was hoping to surprise Serral. He was hoping to catch him off guard. As you mentioned, once Serral realized something was wrong, once he saw extra Raxes, he did throw down the Roach Warren. And I do really like the Roach defense from Serral. Trying to play Ling Bane against the 2-base all-in can be very difficult to pull that off. But once Serral realized something was a little bit off, he did throw down the Roach Warren, and he had plenty of Roach Ravager to deal with the all-in itself. GG, well played. With that, congratulations, Serral. He will claim the series, and with that, we can have a look at the bracket itself and catch up on tonight's matches. Let's go. We can catch up on our matches here. As you can see before you, we just wrapped up with Group B. This was a GSL group. We had Serral, MaNa, Spirit, and herO. And against all odds, herO did come out in first place. Congratulations. herO was our first player through to the playoffs, and Serral was the second. A shout out to Spirit, of course, for some amazing matches as well. He had a very explosive series against MaNa. MaNa likewise was able to showcase himself against Serral. Remember, Serral went all the way to the ace match against MaNa at the start of the night. MaNa looking very good in that series, but it was unfortunate to see that MaNa wasn't really able to get into his own build against Spirit. If you remember, game one, Spirit went for a 1-base all-in. He went for a proxy, and he snowballed out of control with Proxy Marauder and pulling the boys. Game two, 2-base aggression at the Spirit as well. So MaNa never really got into the game against Spirit. He never really got to embrace like a proper 3-base economy. He never got to have a more back and forth, never had the opportunity to have a back and forth against Spirit. So MaNa, he was denied, you know, the StarCraft against Spirit, but he had a really good showing against Serral. So GG, well played. MaNa played well, so did Spirit, but in the end, Serral and herO make it through. GG, well played. That does conclude Group B, and we still have Group C and D. That's going to be next week. Next week is going to be the finale of the group stage with Group C and D, and if you are looking for some more StarCraft here on the CranKy Ducklings, we should be live tomorrow with the Home Story Cup Group C replay cast, catching up on matches that never got broadcasted. So Group C should be tomorrow, as well as Masters Coliseum. The group stage of Masters Coliseum have already concluded, and the playoffs begin tomorrow. It's going to be 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3 days straight of Masters Coliseum action, so make sure you're a part of that. It's going to be an intense weekend of StarCraft, not just Masters Coliseum, but also the KSL, the Korean StarCraft League as well. Bam! As I feel like I need to get better at switching to the scene when talking about the schedule, but you can see here before you, last night we had the podcast. Today on Thursday, you can see here at 9 p.m. KST, we just had the LiuLi Cup, and you can see Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the Masters Coliseum logo, the Dragon Ball logo, if you will. So we do have 3 days straight of Masters Coliseum throughout those 3 days, throughout the weekend, and you can see there we have also the KSL midday KST is on Saturday, in the middle of all of that, of all the StarCraft. There we go. So that is our schedule. We're missing a broadcast there, just because we've been a little bit chaotic with it, and we've been having we've had some intense days of StarCraft. Like Alima League, if you missed out Alima League yesterday on Wednesday, that was an 8-hour cast. That was crazy, and I was so worn out afterwards. So we didn't get to cast Home Story Cup today, but Home Story Cup is going to be tomorrow. So basically, at a similar time slots, a couple of hours earlier, so like 10 a.m. KST, no, 9 a.m. KST on Friday, in how many hours time? In like 9 hours. Yeah, in 9 hours time, we're gonna be live with the Home Story Cup replay cast of the group stage. That's going to be in 9 hours time, right there, just on Friday before Masters Coliseum. So over the next 3 days, we have 5 casts. 5 casts. Thankfully, we have... Oh, actually, I was going to say we have Sunday morning free, but I believe we actually have 6 casts in 3 days, because we also got the replays of Euthermal's 2v2 tournament, which we did admin a couple of days ago as well. So, yeah, this schedule is a little bit incomplete. Currently, we do plan on being live 6 times over the next 3 days. So that's the plan. Is the current plan. We're just being a little bit more flexible here. I know that we were meant to be taking January like easy. It was meant to be like a more chill, laid back month to get into the swing of things. But January has been so busy. There's just been so much content, so much StarCraft, so much casting. It's been intense. It's going to be an intense month. It has already been, and it's going to continue to be as well. Oh boy. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. And I also have some Jumi replays that we're probably going to get into on Monday as well. So yeah, let's go. A lot of content, a lot of StarCraft. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Again, we're going to be live in 9 hours time with some Home Story Cup Group C replays, so look forward to that. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the support. Stick around. We're going to be giving another StarCraft streamer a raid. If you enjoyed the content, if you enjoy the StarCraft, then do consider checking us out here. We have MaNa x herO. No, this is not a round robin group. This is a GSL format group. herO already made it through, and MaNa was eliminated in the first round, or was the first to be eliminated, I should say. So it is not round robin. But yes, if you enjoyed the broadcast, then do consider checking us out over on the social medias. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, YouTube, and Discord as well. All things are CranKy Ducklings, so you can check us out there. It's a good joke with the January... joke with the Jan free time. True. But you can follow us. We are streaming on Twitch, we're streaming on YouTube as well. We're also live on TikTok, on Facebook, on Kick, so we're live on all the platforms. You can follow us. We post whenever we do broadcast, and likewise VODs are uploaded to YouTube on a daily basis. Plenty of VODs on YouTube, and if you want to support us, you can do so via Patreon. You can see the Patreon goal underneath the schedule there. We currently do earn 333 USD a month, and the next goal is at 400. All the money goes towards our tournaments. All the money goes towards players through of course the tournaments like Sparkling Tuna Cup, Masters 1 Open, and Sea Duckling Open as well. So all things go towards the players, goes towards the StarCraft, and I believe our next goal is to boost the prize pool to be able to pay out top 4. Right now our tournaments are very top heavy. Right now our tournaments only pay out top 2. We would love to pay out top 4. That's how my finalists. Again, that is all done via Patreon. Otherwise, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in 9 hours time for some more StarCraft. Otherwise, we'll see you guys next time. Until then, hasta luego. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego.